I need all the help I can get.
What do you need?
Oh, okay. What he wants us to play with.
The style.
Hey, this little blue button will turn on your guys' mic.
Yep.
You know. You know.
Yes, sir.
Is our mic muted right now?
Yep, we're good.
Okay.
No, I think it's fun to write.
Except maybe you know. Like I have OBS on there as well.
Oh, I prefer OBS, but if we're not set up right now, I'm not going to sit here and build profiles.
I spent half an hour trying to do it, and I can't make this capture device show up as available on OBS.
Yeah,
Because then we can use the webcam on the computer if you want to turn around and see you guys.
oh man.
Can I put this a little closer? Or is that
Yeah, you
that's
can put
not-
it close.
that's not
Just
it.
don't pull anything
But
out.
I don't know if
Yeah.
you know specifically there's a trick to that. It
Yeah.
doesn't see this capture.
You need to. So there's an Elgato function for OBS. And I can't remember exactly what it's called, but I know it's there.
Do you have a minute to try and do it?
Oh man.
Yeah, Elgato.
Well, Elgato's what's doing the capture of his camera,
Oh, okay.
and it's also sending the live stream. I don't want to end the live stream.
No.
There it is.
There's 9 viewers. I would end the live stream. Just tell them you're going to end the live stream.
No, because I have to rebuild. I have to build the sources.
Video capture device, but it doesn't. Again, it doesn't show up. The only thing that shows up is freaking
Right.
the webcam.
Right.
So you need to.
Okay. All right. Just making sure that there's nothing.
Lighter, sweet.
No, see, it's just grabbing the display. That's fine. I got confused with this one.
Oh, I have it set to screen capture.
Yeah, you're fine.
Or window capture or whatever, but that kind of sucks. So.
Don't worry about it. Create new. Okay. Now select the file folder. You're right, this should be. It only has that. Make source visible. Create new. And if I do that, it's still not going to give me a drop down for a device. You know, it's super interesting. Then we won't have audio if we do that, though.
What's that?
I can capture an area of the screen.
Well, see, I've got that set up already.
Yeah,
but,
you do.
But again, we can't get the camera sound in then. All we get is your mic.
Right. Right. Where's your, which browser?
Safari for now.
Got your game capture will be a studio setup. Getting started with the studio. Create select source. Create new game capture. Exceed. Which over to the bottom will be a studio window. Swanson themes.
So that's what I went through this morning. Unless there's something cryptic in the settings, like you're saying.
Yeah. Game capture. It's okay. New version Windows preview. Game capture. See, it's not recognizing the device.
Right.
Legacy. It didn't say we had to download anything.
You know what? I think I ran into this before, and it's because the Mac version of OBS has not been updated
To do it?
to be able to do it. So if I had a PC, we'd be fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you a PC guy normally, or what do you?
When I'm live streaming on PC, yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm starting to remember that now from a year ago.
I use not OBS. I use it's
I can live something.
Yeah. What's the... Okay, so what I have here, all the gliders.
Yeah.
The gliders at the top are flying the same thing, so we just have to basically understand whether we've got primary or free. That looks like power.
Okay, but the gliders come with the power series. Right?
No.
The gliders.
So this is a glider node.
No, I mean the glider primaries. Are there glider primaries?
I don't think so.
Okay. If there is a glider primary.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Power node. This is the glider sportsman node.
Understood. Okay, I see what you're saying. And then I have a list of, here's the sportsman node for those who don't have their own free, and then Dick Swanson has his own free. Dylan Beal, Andrew Coughlin. Then the
Craig.
yeah, Big Craig's is different. Andrew McGilvery, Sarah Arnold, Brian Tierney. Crap, I forgot the freaking logo. Palmer Timmons.
Okay, and do we have an order of flight?
Yeah. He's got an order of flight back there that he can share, kind of whisper in my ear.
And how's our microphone?
I was good yesterday. Everybody we had like 6 people standing around talking in front of the computer, and it worked fine.
We can't test it with it muted.
So you have to start streaming for it to work.
We are streaming.
I mean,
we're also muted.
Right, but you can unmute it and then.
Oh, whoa.
Just say good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody. We're just doing a little mic check here with our different distances away from the microphone. I'm Rob.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Rob with Spread Aviation. Jeff is, what's your company?
It's called Pilot Makers Advanced Flight Academy.
Pilot Makers Advanced Flight Academy. And where are you located?
We're in Provo, Utah.
I can hear us coming through the TV.
Oh, that's because I had my live stream on my phone.
Oh. Never mind, it wasn't the TV.
It wasn't the TV. That would have caused some bad feedback. Sorry.
All right, but we're all better now. We'll be with you in a little bit. Still getting judges line organized, competitors in the air, engines fired up, warmed up as we get ready to fly on this rather pleasant Salina, Kansas morning.
Yeah, nice and crisp.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We've got competitors airborne getting ready here as we get the camera focused and we find what looks to be a Pitts S2C doing low lines. Could be, yep, that's a Pitts S2C doing low lines. This is Andrew Fisher.
Andrew Fisher.
Yep. Out of MSU.
So what's the deal with the low lines, Rob? Why do judges need low lines?
Well,
I think we talked about this a little bit last time, but
and
we may have some new viewers today. Right?
And I got caught yesterday. So the low lines, what the competitor is doing, the first competitor of the flight is doing, is flying around the bottom of the box in order to show the judges where in the airspace the 1,500 foot for this category, 1,500 feet AGL is, so that they can assess a penalty to a competitor who goes below the box. We have a minimum altitude of the box for safety reasons, making sure nobody touches the ground. And for the lower categories, it's 1,500 feet. For intermediate, it's 1,200 feet. For advanced, it's 656 or 200 meters. And for advanced, it's
unlimited 100 meters.
100 meters.
That's pretty darn close to the ground.
It is pretty low.
And that's the floor.
Yep.
So, yeah, the box is an imaginary airspace. Piece of airspace, what, a 1 kilometer on a side?
1 kilometer cubed, essentially, with
basically.
a little variance in altitude. So up to, I think it's like 3,500 feet is the top of the box, AGL.
Be nice if there were like some strings or pylons or smoke or something up there so we could see where the box is.
Well, if you develop the technology, Jeff, I'm sure the IAC will use it.
Yeah.
But all this is visual. It's by judges' perception. And we don't necessarily want to get a whole lot of, reporting or electronics or things into the sport. We'd really just like to have, people using their eyeballs. I don't know that any of that was live.
Oh, okay. What we weren't on?
I don't think we were. I just noticed the microphone was not blue, so
okay.
We were talking for a little bit here. Henry is certainly better than the thunderstorms in the Boston area. Yep. We've got the first competitor doing the low lines in the box right now. This is Andrew Fisher flying the low lines in the Pitt Special S2C out of MSU. All right, we've been loud and clear. You heard us talking about the low lines?
Okay, good. We won't repeat that then.
If you heard us talking about the low lines, then we won't continue.
So this is the second flight for sportsmen.
Second flight, yeah.
Yeah. So the flight programs are divided into the known, the free, and the unknown.
And this would be the free.
Yes.
So in sportsman, you have the ability as a sportsman competitor to submit your own sequence.
Your own freestyle. I never did. I just flew the known 3 times in a row.
Yeah, and so that's the other option you have as a sportsman competitor. You can fly the known again for your second flight, and if you get a third flight, you have to fly whatever you flew for your second flight for that third flight. Correct. So if you had a free, submitted a free, and flew a free for the second flight, then you have to fly it again for the third flight if sportsman gets a second flight.
But above sportsman, and intermediate, advanced, and unlimited, a freestyle is mandatory.
In primary, they don't have the ability to design a free.
No.
So primary, you just fly the known 2 or 3 times, depending on how much time we have at the contest, for more competitors to get flights in.
Does this pilot have a freestyle?
This pilot does not. Andrew Fisher is in primary, so no freestyle.
Okay, primary. Let me look at that program.
Damon Graves, good to see you in the chat this morning. Thank you for joining us.
So what's the point of a freestyle?
Well, it's an opportunity for you to maximize points doing figures that you know you are the best at, that score well, that get graded well, that you perform well, and can help set you apart from your other competitors.
And maybe that your plane does well.
And maybe that your plane does well. So you can design a free that's better for you, your equipment, your aircraft, and even the weather conditions. So, like,
How so?
my partner in the airplane, Michael Lentz, who's sharing the airplane here in Advanced,
Yeah.
his freestyle he built for Texas when the Nationals were still in Texas,
Yeah.
and it was very windy down there. When he took that freestyle to Oshkosh, which didn't have the same amount of wind, that freestyle didn't have, or had a bunch of wind correctors that you suddenly didn't have to. You suddenly didn't have to wind correct for it, and so he had to struggle through that sequence. So potentially, like, a lot of verticals on a no-wind day would be fine. 'Cause
Yeah.
you don't have to really do a lot of wind correcting with that. Whereas if you had a bunch of wind, you might want to do some looping figures, the stuff you can adjust the radius on. And so here in Kansas, the weather is very similar to in Texas. Lots of wind. So if you're designing a free and you're like, hey, I know there's a lot of wind, I want to put some wind correctors in, we can do this way, build it this way, and fly it better than somebody who maybe didn't, just gets kind of, I don't want to say stuck with the known, but has to fly the known again. Ian, good to hear you're in Hong Kong and lockdown. You were in Sydney the other day, so you're traveling the world. We got Andrew diving in from left to right in that Pitts S2C, getting ready to fly the primary known.
Is the what's our wind direction today?
Well, the wind has actually shifted. It's a bit out of the north today.
Okay.
And being out of the north, the competitors are now flying from south to north to start the sequence. And so some of the sight pictures and things that we were looking at yesterday or the day before, or if you got here on Thursday and we're flying practice flights since Thursday, the wind direction is completely opposite of how it's been the previous days. A front went by last night and it just changed everything around. So that's going to be a little added degree of difficulty for some of our pilots today.
Okay, he just completed the spin. He's coming back for the half Cuban. 5/8 loop up. Nice and round. So I've got a new competitor I've been training in his Skybolt.
Oh, yeah?
And we worked on the half Cuban, and when he comes off the top of that loop and tries to find his downline, he's finding it very challenging, let's say.
Oh, yeah? Does he have a sighting device?
No, he has no sighting device.
That could be a challenge.
And it's a different view from a biplane. I hadn't been in a biplane for about 20 years.
There's a lot of stuff in your way.
Yeah, there's a lot of wings and wires and struts and crap in the way. He's on this turn now.
Andrew doing a fine job flying that Pitts.
Nice.
Good slow roll.
Yeah, it looked like it was on an axis. I don't know.
And he wing wags out of the box to the south. Joining the downwind, switch to tower. Good flight, Andrew.
Yeah, it looks easy from the outside to set that 45-degree downline, but coming off the top of the loop and searching, seeing the horizon pass by upside down, and then searching for a 45-degree downline on the ground, there's only a fraction of a second to catch the right spot. It's hard the first time. It comes natural now, but I sympathize with him on the early part of the learning curve.
Oh yeah, a lot of people who don't have sighting devices will either draw or put very thin tape on the canopy on the vertical, horizontal, and 45s just to give themselves a reference in there. It certainly can be challenging looking at that left wing for the first time and not having anything to look at and trying to be like, what's a 45 look like?
Yeah. Well, you can look at the wingtip and imagine the extended chord line of the wing. Set that on the horizon, but a sighting device makes it a lot better.
Oh, yes.
So there's sighting devices available commercially. We just ordered one for our new Super Decathlon. And there's sighting devices available from, what is it, Bill Finnegan?
Yep.
In Annapolis, Maryland for the pits. We're going to try to find out if that one can be used for or adapted for the Skybolt. I don't know if the The eye strut is the same size and shape on the Skybolt as it is on the pits.
With a welder, you can do wonders.
Yes.
Up next, do we have a glider or is it Devin Graves?
It's like a decathlon.
Looks like a decathlon, then it's probably Devin Graves, not a glider.
Category?
Primary.
Again.
I think everything's going to be primary this morning for the first little while, kind of like the other day.
Okay.
Get through all the primary flights, move on to Sportsman. We only have one glider flight today, it looks like. Looks like we had a scratch for the primary glider. We'll see what happens in Sportsman.
I hear a Decathlon motoring along up there.
Yeah, I think he's still climbing.
They spend a lot of time with the Decathlons.
Yes. Yep. Well, the
This is-
airplane has a fair amount of performance,
It does.
but if they've got two people, they got a safety pilot, they got the competitor, and more than likely a whole lot of gas, probably close to 35, 40 gallons of gas, because those airplanes are going up and down all day long. And so they don't want to be sitting spending time at the pumps. They want to land, get people out, and get the new
Yeah.
competitors in and get back
Yeah.
flying again.
Yeah, the teams here, the collegiate teams, are having, 3, 4, 5 people all flying the same airplane, aren't they?
Yeah, MSU has one decathlon and one pits, and UND has 2 decathlons that they brought with them. And I think they're trying to save time on one of them.
Mm.
So, Pike Kelly, this live stream should be mandatory for every new member. There's a lifetime of info being shared. That's true. We have had some fantastic people stop by, say hi, share stories, like Mike Goulian was doing the live stream yesterday. Rob Holland, we're going to plan on calling him a little bit later. He's out on the boundary, and Mike Goulian's out on the boundary as well, so we'll get some updates from them a little bit later on today.
Are you telling me that the top air show pilots in the country are out on the boundary line?
Absolutely, and if they can volunteer, so can you out there in live stream world.
I did the boundary the first couple times I went to a contest and said, oh, never again.
I don't mind the boundary. Like there are some great views that you can get of awesome. You're closer to the competitors than the judges are when you're out on the boundary.
That's true. That's
And
true. You get a unique view.
You
out
get
there.
a very unique view. It's awesome to see the airplanes flying acro up close. And we did the math a couple of years ago, and what we figured out was it takes 17 volunteers to put one pilot in the box. We can't do this unless there are people out there who are willing to give up their time and energy and dedicate it to this entire event. We have people in the scoring room. We have people running the scores from the judges back to the judges line. We have all the judges and their 2 volunteers, the assistant and the recorder. We have the chief judge, assistant chief judge, all of that. And we need those people so that Devin Graves, as he wing rocks into the box, can come fly his primary sequence. So if you're interested, come on out. There's no experience required to volunteer to contest.
All right, there's this 45 up line.
Good cap.
And he's capped off and slowing down for the spin. So what we want to see is the nose drop, the wings roll, and the yaw all at the same time.
I kind of want to see him shut his strobes off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he should have read the
rule book. That's okay.
The waiver. The waiver says you can leave your strobes off. All right, 5/8 of a loop.
Keep going. Yep, there's
Oh.
definitely a bit of wind out of the north. That airplane is
he's
basically parked in the sky.
He's running out of energy, too.
Yeah.
He kind of pinched the top of that one.
Yeah, it looked a little bit more like it was a really nice wedge.
Yeah.
But they'll probably still give him some scores there. Wind has definitely shifted today.
And this loop has to be wind corrected. So at the top of that loop, if he's downwind, he needs to hurry that up.
Yeah, and then slow it down right here. That was actually a pretty nice loop. I like that.
Roll on the point and pull. A little bit
A
blended.
little bit. Yeah, I agree.
Varied the bank angle a little bit.
See, he's holding top rudder there. See how the nose was way up and now it yaws back to the left as he releases it.
Slow
You
roll.
really want that to be a coordinated turn.
Oh, nice roll. Okay. Good flight.
And out of the box.
Yeah, you were talking about volunteers. I went to my first contest in 1995 in my Skybolt, and I thought it was a pretty big deal to be at a contest.
Oh yeah.
I mean, a lot of preparation. You got to get the airplane ready and documents. You have to practice, and you have to have your routines, and get to the contest and prepare yourself for competition. And I just took what happened on the ground to get ready for that for granted.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't until I'd been to a contest that I started to get a dim realization of the enormous amount of work that it took
Yep.
to make that flight available for me.
Already our minds are becoming one, because I was going to ask you about your first contest.
Yeah.
Mine was in 2008. I went to the Ohio Aerobatic Open.
No, that's our contest.
Yeah, as a recorder.
Mm-hmm.
Flew there in a 172 from Kent State University. And Damon Graves, you're welcome. Went there with my buddy Tyler, who was my roommate at the time. We were both flight instructors. And our chief instructor had told us, hey, there's this contest happening. If you want to take an airplane, go to it. We're like, yeah, okay.
Well, that Ohio chapter was a great, strong chapter, and I was honored to be associated with that. What do we got?
Okay,
Oh, we got a
we've
glider
got
coming in.
Bryce Jukala off tow here in the DG 1000 U.S. Air Force Academy.
Category?
Primary.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't change sheets. Is that right? You looked at primary power?
Yeah, I believe so. And if you didn't, well, then we apologize. we only have the information that we're given here, and that's okay. Like yesterday during my advanced free, they apparently didn't have my free.
The other orders of flight are below that one. You can find glider.
Well, glider's listed on the primary power
right
flight.
there. Oh, my bad.
Is it?
Sorry.
Okay.
No, you're fine.
All right.
That's good looking out. That's what we do here. We're working together.
Gliders coming in. So gliders are especially challenging to judge. They're small, slender. They're almost all painted white. They're hard to see against the sky. Don't let your eyes go off of that glider.
And there's no hearing them. If you look away, you can't echolocate. You can't find them by sound. There's the wing wags.
So this is primary. I believe he's going to do the same sequence as the power category.
Yes, I believe you're correct. 30 degree 45 up.
Yeah.
1.5 turn spin.
Just imagine spinning toward the Earth in an airplane with no engine. Is this Air Force cadet?
Yes, it is. Keep going, keep going.
Keep going. Stop right there. Oh, he got over-rotated and went back.
Just a hair, and they build speed so quickly on the downlines. They are very slippery aircraft. I believe they have a VNE of something like 146.
Huh.
So you come out of that spin, and you're doing maybe 30. You point the nose down, and she's accelerating very, very rapidly.
Yeah. Still, I think, is it he or she?
Oh, I'm talking about the airplane.
Oh, the airplane.
The aircraft are all she's to me.
I see.
It's like the old Navy tradition, your vessel is a she.
Yeah. She could have carried that figure over to the left side of the box a little bit.
A little bit. Well, that's okay. Primary, usually it's their first experience, their first times in aerobatic boxes, and they're still learning how to place figures. And as you move up in categories, you start to concentrate on those things more as you master the maneuvers. Right now, probably concentrating mainly on just doing the maneuvers correctly.
But as you move up, positioning is a scoring criteria. You're trying to build a sequence that looks pleasing to the eye for the judge. Look at me, look at me. And balancing from the front of the box, the back of the box, the sides of the box. What's next? Another powered aircraft?
Yeah, I believe so. We're going to have Renee Lorenzen flying out of MSU
In
coming
primary.
up next.
In primary?
Yep. Okay. Everything's primary for this first couple hours.
Couple hours.
Thank you for joining us here on the International Aerobatic Club live stream. I'm Rob from Spread Aviation. With me is my co-host, Dr. Jeff Granger.
From...
Did you forget? No.
I was... well, I was thinking about Ohio. Originally from Ohio.
As am I.
Yeah.
Two Ohio boys.
Two Ohioans. But currently living in Park City, Utah, and teaching out of Pilot Makers Advanced Flight Academy in Provo, Utah. And I teach private, commercial, instrument, and also in the Piper Archers, and then also teach tailwheel and aerobatics and upset recovery in the Super Decathlon, and advanced level UPRT spins and aerobatics in the extra 300.
The Super Decathlon is such a versatile tool.
Yes. Yeah.
It's probably one of the most used airplanes as far as basic aerobatics and even some upset recovery training.
Yeah, it's the best all around, I think, entry-level aerobatic trainer. We had a Citabria for 2 years and used that quite a bit for tailwheel training and aerobatics. And we got our pilot makers aerobatics team interested in going to contests and went to Borrego Springs and Marana, Arizona. But we upgraded to the Super Decathlon this summer, and we're going to be excited to go to some of the California and Arizona contests this fall.
Very good. Well, I hope to see some really good results from all of your students out there and continued growth of your program, because this is where all these competitors come from. Is we come from these small schools or big colleges around the country, and we get to eventually replace the generations that are leaving before us. And if we didn't have that flow, then we wouldn't be out here having fun.
So you were telling me a minute ago that your first attendance at a contest
Oh,
was at the Ohio contest, IAC Chapter 34, when it was in Marysville, Ohio.
Yep.
Union County Airport, and you came down as an observer and assistant.
Yep.
And when did you fly your first contest?
I flew my first contest. It was the Keene Fall Classic in Keene, New Hampshire in 2013.
Oh, okay, so you were going to contests as an observer and assistant for a couple of years before you flew your first contest.
Yep.
Yeah, the same for me. The first contest I attended was down in Salem, Illinois, and I met Jerry Molidor, who later became IAC president.
Yeah.
I just remember them being very welcoming to get new people interested.
As Renee dives into the box here, we watch the wing wags. Now Renee prepares for the 45 up, going to figure one. Good luck, Renee. Pike Kelly says, looking forward to having pilot makers at the Tequila Cup in November. Snow cones! Renee pulls the power back for the 1.5 turn spin.
So we want to see the pitch, roll, the yaw, all happen at once. A little bit slow entry. Is it really spinning? Yeah,
it's auto
rotating. It is
rotating.
now.
As we hear that constant speed propeller working hard to catch up to the power application. Yep, there's some wind up there. That airplane didn't quite park, but that was a really nice 45 down line.
That was. It's a nice consistent line.
Yeah.
I put my finger right where that loop started.
Yeah.
See if she comes right back to the same spot.
Looks like there's a little bit of wind blowing towards the judges as well.
I think she finished high.
Just a hair. Yeah, I agree. 180 turn.
She held that point for a while.
Yep. So I suppose there's a couple ways to show that you're not blending. One is to really hold that bank angle. Another one is to set the bank angle and get a good pop off the line to show that, hey, now that nose is moving and going in a direction. I prefer the roll set pop.
Yeah, I often pop the stick just a little bit to emphasize that the pitch change has stopped.
Yep.
And that's something that's hard to get used to after people have been flying conventional training airplanes for a while.
Yep. Nice job, Renee. Good flight. Congratulations. Bring that thing back into land.
I took somebody through their first aerobatic lesson, and I said, "Now I want you to bank the airplane." She said, "But no, don't bank more than 60 degrees." And I said, "No, you must bank more than 60 degrees."
You must. You must.
Now I want you to pitch up, but don't pitch up more than 30 degrees. No, I want you to pitch up 90
Glider
degrees.
turning base, which means it's going to be a sportsman glider.
Okay.
Said, now we're going to pull up and stall, and we're going to put a bunch of yaw in. So I thought whenever we stalled, we kept the airplane coordinated. She said, "You're telling me that everything I learned about general aviation is wrong. I have to do everything backwards." I said, "Yep, that's the bizarro world of aerobatics.
Forget everything you thought you knew.
It's like when Superman. You remember Superman used to go to the Bizarro planet where everything was backwards. He
Um,
said,
I don't want to say no.
"You never read those old Superman comics?"
No, I didn't.
That's where
Yeah.
Bizarro Superman was.
That's where Bizarro. You remember? You know
Yeah,
Bizarro Superman?
sure.
Yeah. Everything was reversed. So
Was he evil?
Yeah, he was evil.
Oh, he was evil.
He was evil Superman on Bizarro Planet.
He's a supervillain.
He's a supervillain. So yeah, you go start aerobatics and forget everything you learned before. We make abrupt control movements, not necessary for normal flight.
Which is the definition of, it's close to the definition of aerobatics, according to the FAA, is any acceleration not necessary for normal flight.
Correct.
And we, being two people in the aircraft, anytime we exceed that 60 degrees of bank angle, 25 degrees up, 10 degrees nose down, if there's more than one person in the aircraft, we are required to be wearing parachutes.
Yes.
So, definition of not necessary for normal flight is the interesting part, as Ethan Smith prepares to enter the box here. Is an aerobatic contest performing aerobatic maneuvers in an aerobatic box considered normal flight?
Well, that's normal for me.
So are we technically doing aerobatics when we're doing aerobatics according to the definition of the FAA? You be the judge. Here comes Ethan with his wing rocks. Ethan Smith.
Diving for speed.
This is a sportsman glider.
Oh. It's a sportsman glider routine. First two figures are the same.
1.5 turn spin. He's in it right now.
Yep.
Good stop. See that wind moving him?
But this third figure is different. This is going to be a reverse of the Cuban. So it'll start with the 45 line and the roll and finish with the 5/8 loop.
It looked like he actually went to 45 there. Well, no, that was 30. Yeah, that was 30. Well placed, just to the judge's left. Looks good.
Now the slow roll.
And into one of my favorite maneuvers.
Yeah, this is not completely unique to the glider world. You don't see them in power much. The quarter clover.
I think they're banned in power now.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay. A loop with a quarter roll on the first up line.
But it looks so good when the glider does it.
That puts him on the y-axis, and this 90-degree turn returns him to downwind on the x-axis. Now the Humpty Bump.
Pull, 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 Humpty.
This is a hesitation loop, basically a flat-sided loop. Hold the line, loop across the top.
Pull hard. Pull hard.
Pull, pull, pull.
That thing parked. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Hold the line and pull.
Not much of a line there. Maybe rushing here to try and stay in the box. He's really far judge's left right now.
Hammerhead turn.
Go, baby, go. Get that airflow over the rudder.
Almost fell out of that. And loop the loop.
Probably diving down to right around VNE here. Potential to over G if he gets too excited on that stick. Looked pretty good though. You can really see the wings flex on these gliders. That big old wingspan.
And it closed a little high.
Just a bit. Just a bit. That's tricky going into the wind. You need to relax downhill in order to complete that radius and not finish high. T. Smith says, "Good luck, Cadet Smith, USAFA." Absolutely. Congratulations. That was a good-looking flight.
So these are our future fighter pilots and transport pilots for the Air Force.
Absolutely.
Flying tiny little airplanes with no engines.
And there's a fantastic amount of skill to be gained.
Yeah, what could you possibly learn about flying a fifth-generation fighter from flying a tiny little airplane with no engine?
Well, ask Sully.
Sully Sullenberger?
Yeah, Sully
That's right.
Sullenberger put that Airbus into the Hudson,
That's
and he
right.
had a glider
It
back
was a
then.
glider. Did you ever?
I believe he flew gliders at the Academy.
He did.
Then flew F-4 Phantoms,
He did.
and then went to the airlines. Probably flew some other stuff
He
too.
did. Did you ever hear the story of the Gimli glider?
Yes. Dual engine and went into a racetrack in
Manitoba.
Manitoba.
Yeah, that was a.
DC
It was a Boeing, I think.
Boeing
It was a Boeing.
7.3.
No, I think it was like a.
There was a 7.3 that landed in Louisiana on like a dike.
Oh, okay.
I remember that.
I don't remember which model Boeing it was. Only that it was.
Oh, I think it was a 7.5.
7.5. It was shortly after introduction of the type, and Air
Boeing
Canada.
7.6. Kevin Rempel,
Okay.
right there in the chat.
And there was. It was shortly after introduction of the type to Air Canada, and they were changing from English to metric units, and got screwed up on the conversion and underfueled the airplane. So it's cruising across the southern part of Canada from east to west when it just basically flamed out and ran out of fuel.
Yep.
And the pilot put it down at an abandoned military base at Gimli, which was being used as a drag strip.
Do you remember the movie Air Force One with Harrison Ford?
Yes. Yeah.
And the bad guy on it.
That was kind of fanciful.
My favorite line from that movie is the bad guy says, "It's simple physics. When an airplane runs out of fuel, it crashes." And I was like, no.
No, it becomes a glider. All right, here we go.
All right. We got Tien Lu here in the... Is this the pits? Yes, it is in the pits S2
pits.
from MSU. Tien,
And
have a good flight.
Is this primary or
This is
sports?
primary.
Primary.
Yeah, primary.
Again. Again and again.
Love hearing the engine pop. A little bit of exhaust lighting off. A little bit of fuel lighting off in the exhaust stacks. Here comes a real airplane, Rob. Pittsburgh. All right, I see what you did there. It's got too many wings for me. Love my monoplane.
I love my monoplane too.
I have never flown a Pitts. I have flown Stardusters and Kristen Eagles, but I've never flown a Pitts.
Yeah, they say if you learn to fly Pitts, you can fly anything.
I believe that. The pilot is Tien Lu out of MSU.
It's been a long time since I flew a Pitts, but while my Skybolt was being recovered during the winter of 1994-95, I went down and flew with the late, great Bill Thomas in Venice, Florida, and took 12 hours of Pitts training with him. It was the best money I ever spent.
Absolutely.
It formed the rock-solid foundation of my aerobatic training.
That was a great flight from Tien. Good job. Hopefully that puts you up there in the standings. Really good looking flight. Can you describe the maneuvers we are seeing? Absolutely. Next time in Ohio, I'll fix that for you, Rob. Okay. All right. Fair enough. What part of Ohio? I just need to know where, because Ohio is big.
Yeah, it's a
Ohio
big
is significantly bigger than Massachusetts. I frequently drive from the north end of Massachusetts to the southern border of Massachusetts.
In what, about an hour?
Hour and 30 minutes, hour and 45, depending if it's Boston traffic, 2:15.
Yeah.
But I know that Ohio is very big to drive across. I've done it multiple times.
Yeah, not as big as friggin' Wyoming though.
No, not as big as Wyoming. I did that once. No, thank you. Not again. I like airplanes. Airplanes go fast. Pitts and Eagles guy. Okay. Gotcha. Well, let's make that happen.
No, the Pitts has a reputation for being extremely tricky, but it's really an honest airplane. It has...
it does exactly what you tell it to do.
It's got a lot of power, it has big control surfaces, and it does exactly what you want it to do.
Whether you mean to be telling it to do that or not.
And they are challenging to land sometimes, but they say there's no bad landing attitude in a Pitts that can't be solved with a straight left arm. If you get the power back in and you get the airflow over the control surfaces, you can generally blast your way out of the...
Move the loud handle.
Yeah.
I've had that mid-wing into some very tight, very narrow places. Was into a 2,200-foot, 35-foot wide asphalt strip. And you're just kind of holding it in a little bit of a slip until you get to a point where you can't possibly miss the runway, and you kick it out, and within about a second and a half,
you're on the ground.
Yeah.
But you can't really see much of the runway from the rear seat of that mid-wing, can you?
It depends on how wide it is.
Yeah.
Like here, I have great visibility because this runway is, 250 feet wide?
These are bomber runways. They're almost as wide as a football field.
Yeah, they're huge.
You could land transversely on this runway.
I probably could.
I'd do that if it was a bad crosswind.
Yep.
bring it in on an angle.
I have landed an extra in a 37 knot crosswind.
Yeah.
And it did just fine.
Uh,
Now, do I recommend that? No.
Don't recommend it.
No.
Don't try this at home. Who's next?
We have Spencer Patterson out of North Dakota State University.
University of North Dakota.
Wow, yeah.
Oh,
My,
ND State?
even as I was saying it, my brain went, what did you just say? UND. Holy cow.
Holy cow, Mike's going to kill you.
Never call a hawk a bison. That's bad.
Never call a hawk a bison. Are they a hawk now? Or they used to be the
Used to
Sioux.
be Sioux.
Used to be the Sioux.
Most people are still the Sioux.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's okay. He's circling still. He's not diving in the box yet, so if Spencer Patterson's family is watching, he's still climbing in the box, climbing up for altitude, and we'll get the camera on him here in a little bit. Forrest Fox providing the video, audio, internet connection, computers, everything, doing a fantastic job. It's his third year at least here, second year doing the live stream, but first year doing the live stream for pretty much everybody with commentary and everything, right? Yeah. He nods his head because he forgets he's not on the camera. And this is the audio.
It's my 8th year filming.
Eighth year filming.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you do air shows as well, right?
When I can.
When you can.
Nobody asked me to do air shows. I have to just go do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I like it.
I think I might have bumped into you down in Melbourne, Florida, 2015 or 2016.
Forever ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like it now. That was my first air show working.
Really?
So I was working with Mike at the air show,
Okay.
and that was eye-opening because that was like the full access behind this, the scenes. Going to a social with all the Blue Angels, and really good time. All right, Spencer Patterson, wing rock and diving into the box. There we go. Good wing rock.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
mistake that for anything.
Yeah. You don't get judged on the wing rock, but it does set a nice tone for the sequence.
I think it goes into I put it in my presentation score.
Do you?
Yeah. So Spencer's pulled up to the 45 up line. We're going to walk through the figures here for Fran. Next maneuver is going to be a 1.5 turn spin. He is going to get the aircraft really slow, stall one wing more than the other, and let the aircraft auto rotate 1.5 times. It is a stable maneuver. The aircraft is happy to be there, and he pulls back to level flight after setting a short vertical downline to accelerate for speed into the half Cuban. He's going to pull back on the stick, bring that nose up 5/8 of a loop around to a 45 downline, where the aircraft will be established in inverted flight, 45 degrees nose down. Then we'll roll the aircraft upright, maintaining that 45-degree downline, building energy, building smash, building airspeed to enter into the loop. The loop is a wind-corrected figure trying to draw a perfect circle in the sky with changing airspeed, ground speed, and G-force on the aircraft the entire time. Really nice finish there to that loop. That was really well done. Next is the 180-degree turn, where the requirement is that you are beyond 60 degrees angle of bank, requiring a minimum of 2 Gs to maintain level flight and maintain coordination constant rate, and then a rollout on a precise heading. Finishing his sequence with the slow roll, a roll that should be done on heading, on altitude, with changes in back pressure, forward pressure, and rudder inputs.
pressure. Yeah.
You're using all the flight controls to make that aircraft roll on that point perfectly across the box.
Deceptively simple.
Deceptively simple.
Yes.
There's
It's
a
not-
lot more to it than
it's
just
not-
put the stick to the left and wait. You're doing a lot of work in that aircraft.
People do that people watch a slow roll at an air show or aerobatic contest, and then they think it looks easy. And invariably, the first time they end up in a 30 or 40 degree dive, don't they?
Oh, yes. I mean, you end up with a lot of nose down, and the worst thing you can do once you see that is start pulling back on the stick. What you really want to do is just keep rolling until those wings are level.
Mm-hmm.
Then just recover from the dive. You won't be more than about 15, 20 degrees nose down, and that's
Mm-hmm.
very quick to get back up to a good position on that.
One of the first things we demonstrate on our upset recovery protocol is how quickly you can get headed downhill if you don't roll out.
Oh, yes. You must get that lift vector oriented away from the gravity vector before you can really enact any kind of recovery.
Sounds like a physics class.
Well,
It is.
there's a lot of physics involved in flying
it's
airplanes.
applied physics.
So the beautiful thing about a 141 program like UND or MSU And I heard this many years ago when I was going through Kent State University's 141 program, that private pilot in college is the equivalent of a year in medical school. And the amount of work that you have to do, because you have all your normal classwork, then you
Yes.
have your classroom for the private pilot where you do the ground school. Then you're going out to the airport and flying the airplane and briefing and debriefing, doing all that. And then you have to go home and do the homework for all your other classes, plus what you're doing in the 141 side.
Mhm.
On the flight school side, you have to do all that extra work. And it is quite the workload. And
It
so
is.
that's what they've compared it to. It's basically a year in medical school, the amount of knowledge that you're gaining in a very short period of time.
Well, there's a lot of parallels between medicine and aviation. I could talk about that at length.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a little bit of a diversion. Well, maybe not too much of a diversion.
I think we have a Fox glider here. I do believe we're correct on that. That's a glider off tail.
All right.
This should be Greg Borovic.
All right. Well, the Fox gliders are exciting to watch compared to the DGs. They are significantly faster, have a higher roll rate,
A little bit higher speed.
higher speed. Yeah. Diving in.
Wing wag. So my mother worked in the medical field as a nurse anesthetist. And I was a CFI, probably been a CFI for a couple of years, when I asked, hey, is there an opportunity to shadow you at work to understand more about what you do? And she said, yeah, absolutely. So I ended up in the OR for a day, seeing a whole bunch of different stuff, which was really, really neat. But one of the things that I took away was how much they use checklists, how much they use two-way communication, how much they verify and are watching each other and making sure they're doing what they need to do, and how much that paralleled to what we did in the cockpit flying an airplane, especially in kind of a commercial environment. And
Yeah. And there's been some good articles and books written about that by Malcolm Gladwell
Mhm.
and Atul Gawande. I think the Checklist Manifesto.
yes, that's it.
Great surgeon educator, Gawande. Yeah, so-called crew resource management came into the airlines in the 1970s and 80s,
Uh-huh.
and then began to filter out into the medical field. I retired from my surgical career 4 years ago, and during the last dozen years that I was in practice, we were using operating room checklists, especially to prevent wrong site surgery.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you don't want to do a total knee on the wrong knee.
No, unless they both need both done, but it's
Then it doesn't
still
matter.
awkward.
Yeah. Well, we know we told you we were going to do the right today, but yeah.
Changed my mind.
Really nice flying here in this Fox.
It used to be common to say, take the patient in the OR and put him to sleep, and I'll be in later. Now the surgeon has to go in, identify the patient, mark the surgical site while the patient's still awake, verify it against the surgical consent.
Oh, that was a bit of a pitch attitude change there on the hammerhead. They just maybe got a little bit aggressive with the back pressure as the pivot went on. The rest of the flight looks pretty solid, though. And there's a wing wag.
But you were talking about parallels between medicine and aviation, and they both involve having to acquire a deep, fundamental knowledge base, factual knowledge,
Uh-huh.
And then acquiring a physical skill, and then acquiring proper judgment and decision making.
We don't need that. Yeah.
A lot of physicians end up as pilots.
That doesn't surprise me.
No.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Because learning to fly takes three things: time, money, and health.
Yes.
And you only ever have two. But taking the financial...
Time's the one thing you can't buy.
Yeah.
You can't buy more of.
Nope. Taking the financial out of it is a big key in people's flight training, and taking that pressure, that financial pressure off. And there are lots of opportunities out there for scholarships. You just have to look. There's a quick Google for aviation scholarships, or learning to fly scholarships, or grants. Lots of money is out there. Lots of different programs. EAA, AOPA, the 99s. there's a lot of organizations that $500, $1,000, $1,500, $2,500, that goes a pretty good distance in the flight training world. And there are lots of opportunities out there if you're interested in learning to fly. Lots of resources to help you get into this world. And I can't think of anything else I'd rather be doing. I can't dance worth a darn, so you know.
Me neither.
I guess I'll just fly the
I
airplane.
don't think I got that gene. What's coming up next?
Could be Ryan Peen out of UND, flying a Super Decathlon, looking to the sky. Don't see him right now. We're just going to take
He's
a...
on base.
Oh, he's
I
on
got him
base.
got him on base leg.
There he is, diving in. He got quiet. There he's diving.
He's
Okay.
coming. He's coming in. There's the wing wag. He's rocking away from the judges. Should rock toward the judges. Right?
Should?
Yeah. Increase your presentation score.
Dang it, I've been doing it wrong.
It's like a salute. There's the 45-degree up line.
And you hear that power change. So he was doing his dive without the power on, trying to keep the speed under control. To not make this 45 super long, spin is placed basically right in front of the judges. Slightly under-rotated. He's trying to hide the fix right there. And we hear that power come back in on the AEIO 360 180 horsepower engine. 360 cubic inches of displacement, 2 minutes of inverted fuel, and an inverted oil system, so the engine stays lubricated, even while upside down. Super Decathlon, currently manufactured by American Champion, originally by Belanca. Changed hands, names, ownership sometime in the 70s. And they still operate out of Wisconsin, building brand new airplanes.
And this type goes all the way back to the Aerobatic Champion Chief.
Yep.
Is that right?
In the 1930s and 40s.
40s, yeah. That's
Yeah.
what my dad learned to fly after the war on the GI Bill in Aerobatic.
Yeah.
I still have his old logbook.
And if you look, don't do it now, but Spread Aviation on YouTube, we did an aircraft review of a 7AC Champ as our first aircraft reviews by Rob.
Cool.
So that's over on the Spread Aviation YouTube channel. Ryan Peen, nice flight. Good job, buddy. And we look forward to seeing you again. Hopefully we get a third flight for Sportsman. And they get to go do that,
They should.
or Sportsman Primary.
Yeah, you should. Come out here, spend a week. You should get 3 flights.
Yeah. I know in 2019 we got through it so quickly in 2019 that they did a 4th flight.
Cool.
4th flight for Sportsman. Lori Penner loving the commentary. Great job, Rob and Jeff. You rock. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Lori.
Enjoy your time in the hotel. We hope you're getting lots of rest. Drink lots of fluids. Doctor, any other advice for Lori?
Yeah. Take Tylenol, rest, and get plenty of fluids.
Is Dayquil okay?
Yeah, Dayquil's
Dayquil's good stuff.
Dayquil's good.
Love it.
Just don't fry your chicken in it.
Don't fry your chicken. What is up with that?
I don't know.
I don't know where that came from. Who thought that was a good idea?
It was a prank, but people started doing it.
And people will believe most anything.
You
But-
hear it on the internet. It must be true.
Must
right?
be true. No, Lori works very, very, very hard
Very
out here,
hard.
so she needs the time, and we're happy to take over the hosting duties here.
Yeah.
And we love you.
We love you, Lori. Yeah, we were talking a minute ago about the Ohio chapter and the Ohio contest. So I'm honored that you came out and volunteered with us. Did you remember? Did we meet that year?
I only remember
You remember
that
me-
17-year-old kid flying the Sukhoi.
Oh yeah.
That's all. I have no idea who he was.
His nickname was Gabby because he never spoke.
That's true.
Yeah.
He was so quiet. He sat in like the pilot lounge the entire time,
Mhm.
was looking over stuff, and then when it was time for him to fly, he'd go out and fly the airplane,
Yeah.
and then come back. And I believe his dad was there.
Yeah.
Uh,
He didn't last more than a couple of years.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if he was having any fun.
Oh, there are people who come in and fly for a few years and then drop out. They don't stick with it. They don't have to. Lori's husband, Gordon, estimates that people stay on this board an average of about 7 years.
Oh, I'm due.
Oh, no, but you can stay with it forever. I've stuck with it for 30 years, so you can stick with it as long as you like.
Well, you're bumping the average up. We like that.
Yeah.
Here's Jim Burke.
Jim Burke?
What?
Cody Brown?
No.
Oh, you're filming Jim Burke. Oh, Jim Burke's
No.
doing his walkthrough for Unlimited.
Oh.
Yeah, Unlimited gets to fly the Free Unknown #1 today, and or not today. They're flying tomorrow. Advanced is flying this afternoon. I should know that because I'm one of those guys. So yeah, he's going through his dance.
His dance, the dance of the unknowns.
President Jim Burke.
President.
Prez.
Hail to the chief, he's the chief, and he needs hailing. Jim is doing the funky chicken. Thanks, John Strong.
So why do people do the dance of the unknown?
Well, it's a way to visualize the sequence that you're going to fly. Try to get it in your head. Try to get it in your hands.
Why don't they just go up and practice it?
We're not allowed to practice at a contest.
Practice.
Well,
You
our
can't practice at a contest.
practice days are over. It's time to perform.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, you go to a play, the actors don't go out there and go, "We're going to do another run of that one and do the
another
scene
rehearsal.
over again." No, you get out there, you got one shot.
Got one shot
As
to perform.
Eminem said, you only get one shot. Do not miss your chance. Oh, we're going to get a copyright strike now. That was so accurate.
Yeah, we talked about the flight programs a little while ago. The known, the free, and the unknown. Now here in Sportsman, they fly the known. You can fly the known all 3 flights.
Mhm.
You can fly the known, then you can fly your freestyle and demonstrate your particular skills at designing a sequence and picking the figures that you and your airplane like to do well. But once you get up into the other categories, you fly the known, the freestyle, and then you fly the unknown.
Mm.
The unknown.
The unknown you get at minimum 12 hours before. You have to go fly it. You're not allowed to practice it. And the first time you fly it is in front of the judges. And everybody's in the same boat.
Right.
And that's where the differences and the can be made up.
But walking through it on the ground is particularly helpful. You can use your hand. You can use a model airplane. I just bought a nice new briefing stick for my extra.
Yep.
It's way good.
Perfect little model of the airplane on a stick, and you can hold it over the diagram of the box, and you can go through the motions. And that's where you figure out what you didn't realize about the sequence. Say, oh, if I turn that way, I'm going to come out this way. I didn't realize that.
Well, here's Cody Brown pulling the power back into the 1.5 turn spin. Cody Brown out of MSU.
Nice vertical.
Sometimes I get stuck looking at the screen. I got to look up at the airplane that's above me and put my sunglasses on. There we go. That's better. Nice drive into the wind there on that half cube, and see how patient he was. He didn't just pull it over.
I found that when people are upside down in an airplane, they sometimes get impatient.
Yeah.
Like, shouldn't it be rolling out by now?
The way Cody's flying, he seems to be a little bit more experienced than some of the other competitors. A little bit of a pinch there. Exiting a little bit high and probably a little bit slow. But going into the 180-degree competition turn, climbing there, don't really need a ton of energy.
So, Rob, what happens when you've flown a category and you get better and better and better at it, and you win the first place trophy, and then you go to the next contest and you win the first place trophy in your category again? What happens at the award ceremony when you do that like the 3rd time?
Well, the other competitors in your category start chanting at you, "Move up! Move up!
Move up!"
Yeah, and if that's happening consistently, it's probably time for you to actually listen. But there is some.
Yeah, are you obliged to move up?
No, not at all. You can stay in whatever category you're in, and they got to get better to beat you.
Okay.
You know,
all right.
kind of thing. But there's no criteria to when you move up. You can move up whenever you want. You can come out with your extra and come out and fly unlimited at your first contest if you really want to.
Can you move down?
You can move down as well.
Yeah.
But there are some kind of criteria where your skill level maneuvers and things, like you want to do 100 hammerheads before you,
so you can
100 snaps
You could move up to
100 avalanches. Like you want to have some experience, a lot of flights in front of the judges to really know that you're safe moving on to those higher categories, because the maneuvers do get more complicated the higher you go.
But you could stay in sportsman for your whole life.
You could.
Did you remember old Joe Haycraft? He used to come to our Ohio contest.
Nope.
Joe flew F-86 Sabre jets in Korea. Then he flew a lifetime for various airlines like U.S. Air, and then when he retired, he got a Pitts, and he'd come to our contest.
Forrest?
He was pushing 80 years old, and he'd fly sportsman.
Yeah.
And he'd win sportsman. He'd say, "Joe, don't you want to get a faster airplane and move up?" He said, "Hell no, I'm 80 years old. I just want to fly my Pitts."
Yep. That's good that he had a Pitts.
Yeah, he did. So yeah, you can just fly sportsman and have some fun. I suppose that's why they call it sportsman.
Yep.
You're just a sportsman. You're not looking to fly a fire-breathing carbon fiber monoplane. You just want to be a sportsman.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a little break here for a minute. We'll be back with you shortly. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back to the soybean field where we're watching Nina Stewart fly her primary known. Nina from MSU flying the Super Decathlon, doing a great job. Really nice slow roll. That was actually one of the best I've seen today. So hopefully she scores very, very well on that. Nice job, Nina. Up next, glider coming off tow, Kelly Murphy from the United States Air Force Academy out in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Flying the DG-1000, the DG Flugsbau.
Flugsbau?
Flugsbau.
What's a Flugsbau?
I don't know, it's German.
It means...
Are we saying that angry enough?
Flugsbau!
Flugsbau!
Flugsbau means airplane factory.
Oh. So extra Flugsbau.
Flugzeugbau.
Flugzeugbau.
Yes.
What's the Flugzeugbau?
I don't know, but it means airplane manufacturing place.
Ah. Well, here Kelly goes for the 30 degree.
Don't get me started on the Arbeitsgemeinschaft für Assoziationsfragen.
Jeez, Pete, you are multi-talented.
So, spin. This is an auto rotation.
That blows my mind seeing an aircraft spin to the right. Because we in power use our left turning tendencies to spin to the right.
Spin
with our American manufactured engines.
to the left.
To the left.
To the left. To the left.
With our left turning tendencies. Though you can spin to the right.
You can spin to the right. It's just it spins a little bit better to the left. Rolls a little bit better to the left.
My extra snaps better to the right.
I snap to the right. When I can.
Nice slow roll. Little over the judge's head, but nice slow roll. Seems to be an on-judge wind.
Speaking of extra Flugzeugbau, Marcus Extra is here from Dinslaken.
And we don't want to talk about the scandal that happened yesterday.
What scandal is that?
Are you not aware of the scandal?
No. Was it at the reception last night?
No, it was before.
All right. Do tell. Do tell.
Mr. Extra
Yes.
flew in a Pitts for the first time.
Well, why not? His father flew a Pitts. A Pitts is a venerable part of aviation, of aerobatic history.
Absolutely. Kelly doing a fantastic job here with this loop. That looked good. Nice loop. Bring it back around. Look at the hammer. Look at that arc. Get some airflow over the rudder. Look at her sliding sideways.
Let's all fly all different kinds of airplanes.
Oh, yes. But it's a scandal.
A scandal.
It's a scandal. It's how the headlines are made, right? Have to sensationalize.
I wouldn't say that.
German monoplane pilot flies biplane.
American biplane.
Yeah.
Well,
He flew with Dagmar Kress.
Oh, well, she's German, so I guess that makes it okay.
And Dagmar owns the pits and an extra.
Yes, and the French fly German airplanes.
And they fly them
And
well.
they fly them well, and
Yeah.
they beat the crap out of us with their German
Kelly
airplanes.
Murphy up there. Fantastic job. Dottie the Airfield Corgi says, good luck, Cadet Kelly. Hashtag Yusafa. Bob Holland, good morning from Norton, Mass. Good morning, Bob. And Henrik, hey, up here in Needham. So we got folks in Needham. We got folks in Northam. I'm from Chelmsford. Chelmsford. There's a lot of consonants that don't get pronounced in New England words.
Yes. Worcestershire.
Worcestershire. We have that town in Ohio too. It's just Worcester.
Worcester, yeah. You can add extra syllables when you want. My 3-year-old grandson, 2.5-year-old grandson, he says, "Mommy, can I have a hamburger?"
Hamburger. My 19-month-old calls trucks cruck.
Crux.
Cruck.
Into the box. Have a good flight.
And he never says yeah. He says yeah.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about extra.
Yes.
So extra aircraft are made in Germany. They're famous for their carbon fiber monoplanes, which you and I both fly. But the senior, the patriarch of the extra family, the extra Vater, he started out in pits.
In Germany.
Yeah, in Germany, flying contests.
Well, the Pitts may be is probably the aircraft that's responsible for the majority of the advancements in aerobatic figures, techniques, flying through the 50s, 60s, 70s until the monoplanes really started to take over with the acro, the Stevens acro, the lasers,
yes.
and the weird and wonderful things that Leo Laudenschlager was doing, and then Walter started coming out with the extra 230.
Yeah.
260, 300.
Walter Extra saw what Leo was doing at the laser. Didn't he build a laser himself or acquire a laser?
I believe he acquired a laser, and he also took a tape measure to a Stevens acro, and that was those measurements were the basis for what became the extra 230.
Yeah.
As Josh Feldman dives into the box, the American champion, Super Decathlon. Josh performing in primary, setting that 45 upline, running her out of energy, driving for the 1.5 turn spin, fighting that wind that's from north to south as he tries to place this 1.5 turn spin right in front of the judges. Nice stop. That was crisp.
That's what they like to see.
Right,
crisp, right on.
Quick into this half Cuban so you don't go out of the box. Quick, go. That tailwind really moves you from the north end to the south end, and it fights you as you're looping over the top there in that slow speed portion.
Kind of shallowed out there on that second part of the line.
Yep, got to remember to keep pushing after that slow roll back to upright. Good loop here. Don't have to do a ton of work over the top because of that wind. Now here you just need to actually do less work. Just pulling a little too hard there at the bottom. E-shaped, a little bit high, probably a little slow. Doesn't really matter for this follow-on figure. Not a big energy requirement for the 180 turn. Set, roll. Slow roll. Presentation score on that, probably going to get a couple downgrades as he did everything pretty much left side of the box. Sent 2 figures to the right side. And that's how much that wind is really affecting the pilots today.
I wasn't watching the weather map. You said a front came through last night?
Yeah, there's a stationary front parked just off to the east. We lost a little bit of temperature.
Yeah.
A little bit of precip happened over to that way and a little over to that way.
But it's a great sky for judging.
Yeah, it's a pretty good sky. I could use a little more.
Yeah.
But you can see it's coming.
Yeah, judging the past few days against a featureless sky was hard.
Yep.
This nice high Cirrus gives you a good background to see what the airplane is moving.
Yep, really contrasts.
Nice. So you were telling me about Walter Extra, and he flew at Pitts and he competed in aerobatics, and then he got interested in the monoplanes and had a laser, and then one day he took some measurements, and he being an aeronautical engineer, he got out a clean sheet of paper and said, what would the ideal aerobatic monoplane look like? Well, first of all, it would make use of advanced composites, right?
Mhm.
Which were available back in the late, becoming available in the late 70s.
Yes.
And it would have a nice straight wing, unlike the training aircraft, no dihedral, no washout,
Mhm.
symmetrical top and bottom, symmetrical camber,
And big flight controls.
big flight controls. And the stiffness of the carbon fiber allows you to have a big long aileron. What happens when you have a really flexible wing and you start pulling G's with a long set of ailerons?
Well, you start twisting. And if you're twisting, you're loading up the rear spar. And the rear spar is not as beefy as the main spar.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get yourself into
An aileron lock.
an aileron lock, or even worse, the rear spar fails and the wing folds up.
That ain't good.
Nope, not good. Neither situation is
That
good.
would spoil my day.
Yep.
No, I understand Cirrus lost a flight testing prototype because of aileron lock.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There were a lot of F-86s that were also lost
Because
because of aileron lock, because there was a person in the factory who, when they were assembling the ailerons, decided that they knew better than the blueprints about how to install a bolt and a nut. And they did it the opposite way that they should, and it almost killed Chuck Yeager.
Crap.
But Chuck figured out what was happening, unloaded the aircraft, got it rolled back upright, and when they tore the airplane apart, they found this bolt and they traced it all the way back to the factory. And it had killed a handful of pilots up to that point. And they didn't know why the aircraft were rolling in.
We're rolling in.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't change that.
No. But yeah, it was jamming up.
Who do we have here?
Here we have Gretchen Knox, Cadet Gretchen Knox, up in the DG-1000. Good placement.
Yeah.
Just about center box, 1.5 turn spin.
Nailed
Good
that.
down
Yeah.
line. A little bit of some pitch bobbles there. Don't know what that is, but has a really nice spin. Reverse half Cuban.
Hmm? Is this supposed to be a reverse half Cuban?
Yep.
Oh, is this a sportsman?
This is Sportsman Glider,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, that's right. They got the quarter clover.
That'll be after this, I believe. Or maybe I'm backwards on where I am in the sequence. Slow roll. Yep, quarter clover coming up next.
Oh,
Pull and a roll. Little behind on the roll. 90-degree turn. See, with this wind, I wouldn't take that figure away from the judges. I would take that towards the judges because it dumps you out, exits you away. Here, they're just over top of our heads,
Here's the Humpty Bump.
flirting with out of the box. So,
Yeah, you do get downgraded for being overhead.
yeah. So that's a way that we can use these figures to fight what the wind is doing, but we have to go into it with a plan. Very tough to make it up on the fly.
Oh, that's a tough pivot.
Yep, tough pivot, little bit of torquing of the wings there. It's too bad you can't asymmetrically deploy the speed brakes. Just keep that wing from rising. Speed brakes, kind of an oversimplified term. Another term for them is spoilers, because they are spoiling the lift on that wing.
You see that wing flex, don't you?
Oh yeah, when they're in those poles.
Well, I can tell you, I've never seen an extra wing flex.
Nope.
It's a slab of glass.
Yep.
It does not bend.
Gretchen, great flight. Nice job.
The other thing about the extra wing is it's tapered, but it's the trailing edge that tapers in. The leading edge is nice and straight and is big and blunt.
Yep.
And what does that do to help you with your snap rolls?
Well, it lets that wing let go of the air in a way that is consistent and predictable for the pilot, so that we can be consistent and predictable with our flight controls and not have to wonder when the airplane's going to do what we hope we want it to do.
It lets go quick and it reattaches, bam, quick.
Miko Aviation with the jokes. Got to pull the power when it starts torquing. Thanks, Miko.
Thanks, Bell. Then the other thing about that extra wing it's one piece.
Mhm.
Starts out with a big box bar of carbon fiber that goes from wingtip to wingtip.
That's filled with foam.
Well, what's inside of the box doesn't matter much.
Nope.
The stress is carried on the outside
Yep.
of that beam.
But if you were ever to cut one apart,
It's full of foam.
it's full of foam.
It could be filled with air, for that matter.
Could be.
I mean, there's some metal aircraft that have a gas-filled spar.
Mm-hmm.
Which one is that? That has a pressurized spar with a meter on it to tell you if you ever get a crack in it.
Boy, I don't know.
There's some metal sparred aircraft that have a gas pressurized spar you have to check the pressure on it periodically if the pressure ever goes down.
That's a pretty good design.
Yeah.
Letting you know, hey, yeah, your spar's damaged.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you might not know until it's too late.
Exactly.
Pressure test, like when you build your Pitts frame, your tube frame, do people pressure test those?
I've never
heard
built
of that
one.
before.
Never built one before, but it should be.
Put film up with nitrogen or
Yeah,
something?
it should be filled. It should be sealed. But the foam is just to provide something to form it on. And then the ribs, they're made out of a plywood and reinforced with carbon fiber. And then the skin is stretched and laid over that is carbon fiber,
Mm-hmm.
epoxy composite. We say carbon fiber, but we're actually talking about a composite.
I believe there's a honeycomb inside the skin as well.
The skin as well.
Yep.
Okay. Again, to provide some space.
Yep, space and strength.
Yeah.
Honeycomb, very, very strong design.
So that forms a composite of epoxy, which is plastic, and carbon, which is an element, and formed into crystalline whiskers, which are extremely, extremely strong.
Now, something I think is very interesting with these fabric-covered aircraft,
Yeah.
the fabric that they're covered in it's quite similar to like a cotton T-shirt. All right, air can flow through it. It's not a cotton T-shirt.
Yeah,
but
until it's doped. Yeah.
yeah, but then you start applying dope to it, which seals up the fabric, and then you start applying your layers of paint, which seals it up even further. So you got your primer, and you got your gloss, and maybe a clear coat, and all of that seals up that structure, seals up that fabric, and so basically what you're flying on is paint.
Yeah.
Once the aircraft is assembled, try not to think about that when you're flying your fabric airplanes, but I think that's just so neat.
But I guess now that you think of it, the fabric and the dope, the glue that's laid on it, forms a composite skin, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it's different materials, right?
Yeah.
And there we have semi-monocoque. Well, with our airplanes, we're semi-monocoque in the extra.
Yeah.
So we got a structure inside, a rib structure inside, frame structure inside, and then we have structural skin around the aircraft. And then you have the brand new extra NG, which is a monocoque
Truly
airplane.
monocoque. Truly, everything is in the external shell.
Everything's in the external shell. Nikki Petroselli, hello from New York. Out there on the island that is long, it is good to hear from you. We missed the coffee out here. Could use some warm coffee.
I could use some hot coffee.
We're sitting in the shade.
In the shade, out in the middle of a soybean field, in the Kansas wind. You mentioned the Kansas is windy.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
And it's starting to pick up now that the sun's coming up.
Well, I remember that movie about the girl in the house that got blown over the rainbow. She was from Kansas, right?
Oh, good old Dorothy.
Yeah.
Yeah, know her well.
So the extra wing, very strong, very rigid,
Mm-hmm.
very smooth, very slick. Airflow attaches to it. Lets go quickly,
Mm-hmm.
reattaches quickly and predictably.
Mhm.
That allows you to spin on command.
Yes.
Allows you to snap roll on command.
Yes.
The first year I had my extra, I was intrigued by that. I got a ball of yarn and some masking tape, and I tufted the top of one wing.
Uh-huh.
And then I watched it as I did snap rolls. And then as you snap roll, the yarns are all laying down, and then they go, and they stand up. They stand up, and then they snap down.
Yep.
It was a good piece of training.
The tufted flow videos, I love watching those online because the visualization of the airflow of the imaginary, well, not imaginary, but the invisible fluid that holds us in the air
Mm-hmm.
is really, really neat. And there, as much as flying is a drug and aerobatics is a stronger drug, there is one more that I think is for me personally, a much stronger pull. Have you ever flown on a very humid day in your extra
Yeah.
and pulled a bunch of G and made wingtip vortices?
I haven't seen it on the wing. I've seen it on the prop.
Oh, yes, I've seen it on the prop,
you go
too.
up. You go up close to the base of a cloud, where you're real close to
500 feet from the bottom, yes.
Yes, only 500 feet, but close to the bottom of a cloud, where the temperature dew point spread is down to just a degree or two, and do a hammerhead, and as you start the pivot, the prop disc turns to fog.
Yep. I have been flying down in Florida quite a bit, and I did some flying in Patty Wagstaff's extra with Mike Goulian.
Yeah.
And we were in the LX out there doing some training, and we were doing pulls and loops and snaps and all kinds of stuff, but we'd pull to the vertical, and I'd be up at 8 Gs, and I'd be looking out at the wingtip, and there's just a tight little vortice coming off there. I'm looking, that's so cool. And the problem is it never really gets humid enough in the Northeast to do that.
It doesn't get. I can guarantee I'm not going to see that in Utah.
No, not going to happen. But like that's a I want more of that kind of thing. It's out there, it's happening. Yeah. It's just invisible because you're not compressing the air and getting that moisture.
You're working with the air all the time, but you never get to see it.
That's right.
All right, who's this?
This is Braden Giltinen from MSU flying primary in the Pitts S2C. Yeah, still climbing. Okay, still climbing.
What makes it an S2C? There's so many Pittses out there. I can't keep them straight. There's S1s and S2s and T's and C's. And
that's a fantastic question for the chat, actually. What's the difference between an S2B and an S2C?
Yeah, so I flew the S2B with Bill Thomas. That's probably the last Pitts I ever flew. But these kids from MSU are flying Dagmar's S2C. I know the wingtips and tail look a little different.
Yep, a little bit different design.
Not sure if it has different ailerons or if it has more horses.
I don't know. I think it's still 260 horse.
Mm-hmm.
I think it does have different ailerons. And a couple years ago, I was talking with Bill Finnegan. I was looking to buy an airplane. And I'm like, what should I get? And he goes, you should buy an S2C. And just walked away.
That's what he sells.
That's what he sells, yeah.
Amazing. He would recommend what he sells. Yeah, they're made by Aviat up in Afton, Wyoming, of all places.
Afton, Wyoming. Miko Aviation, different ailerons, fuselages, different shape, same engine. $100,000 is the difference between an S2B and an S2C.
Okay, that's the main difference.
I was very pleased with the Kristen Eagle.
Yeah.
I fit in it. It was plenty wide. Performance was just a super fun airplane, and could definitely keep up in intermediate, perform well in intermediate, would struggle a bit in advanced, but with the right pilot who could make it dance, they'd be just fine. Yeah. But yeah, the Eagle.
The Kristen Eagle's a great entry level and mid level aerobatic competition airplane.
Here comes Braden into the box in the S2C. Setting that 45 up line, getting ready for that 1.5 turn spin, driving it right in front of the judges. Pop, 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 pop. Hopefully that exhaust is coming through the live stream. Oh, a little bit over-rotated there, Braden. I did that. Well, no, I under-rotated yesterday. Braden is also here in Mooney, that I believe is family owned.
Oh, is that his Mooney?
Yep.
231?
231.
Nothing's faster for your money than...
Good looking figure there. Needs to back off a little bit. Now just a little bit E-shaped. Okay. Everybody's doing that today. Oh, he's going to the right. He's going towards the judges. This is probably going to be an out as he's over our heads.
And that makes the next figure.
And that makes the next figure over the heads of the judges as well, and probably out of the box there. Don't see how he was going to stay in there. That's only a 5-point penalty, though. Oh, no, there's no outs in primary.
No outs in primary.
No outs in primary. Not going to hurt him at all, folks. Just the presentation score.
Well,
does make it a little tough to judge the figure.
Yeah, I downgrade for overhead figures. I wouldn't say it's a slap in the face, but it's telling the judge.
Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna make your neck hurt. Well, you were talking about the Kristen Eagle. So the Kristen Eagle is not a factory plane, though. It's a home built.
Home built.
It's experimental, but it's built from a kit, and they tell me that the kit is the best, most best laid out, extensive kit that you can get, comprehensive kit that you can get in terms of what's the materials that are available, the parts that are already factory manufactured, and the manuals that are available.
Yeah.
And that's the brainchild of Frank Christensen, who designed that. According to the legend that I heard, he took the Pitts S2B, S2A, or S2A, said, I'd like to make a few changes.
Yeah.
I'd like it to be bigger, wider, sit lower, easier to get into, have a canopy that you could frame that's sturdy enough that you could tip the canopy up and start the engine and taxi around with the canopy open, and make it as a kit for people who want to build their own airplane. And those kits are still available through Aviat.
Yep.
And there are some 540 Eagles around. Craig Gifford started out
with a 6-cylinder engine.
Yeah, you get take an airframe that's built to perform very well with 180 horsepower and tack on another 80.
Yeah. So I've never met Frank Christensen, but of course every aerobatic airplane that I've ever owned and flown has the Christen inverted oil system.
Yep.
That he developed. So Rob, we started a chapter, an IAC chapter in Utah this summer.
Very good.
It's called IAC 139. We're still getting it organized. And I sent to the IAC for a spreadsheet of all IAC members in Utah that we could use to solicit new members for our chapter. And I was looking through there, saw St. George, Utah.
Diving in from the left.
Frank Christensen.
Oh, Kieran Vigiano. Not from Utah.
Maybe we'll be able to get him. Maybe we'll get the famous Frank Christensen as our chapter member.
That would be neat. I think I met him at Oshkosh back when they had gathering of Pitts and Eagles. I think for the 50th anniversary of the Pitts. And the Christen Eagle would have the same engine as the Super Decathlon.
The Lycoming IO 360.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great engine. Bulletproof.
Kieran making it look easy, flying the Super D. A little bit low there, that seems to be getting everybody, so if everybody gets the same downgrade, well, it's going to take one person who doesn't do it. Oh, Miko and Nikki, hey, thank you. Who says I'm not? I'm not.
I can verify that. But you could.
Yeah, I could be. I had a really good look at it last night in the hotel room, and this morning taking a look at the unknown. And
do you have a copy with you?
I do.
Let's see it.
Okay.
Maybe we can get you to do the funky chicken during one of the breaks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I do that. I'll narrate.
There you go. There's
holy crap.
It's a lot of pushes. So it's starts out. I'm flying the B form, and it starts off with a wedge, pull to the vertical, 2 of 4, and then a pull inverted down, full roll on the 45 down, push out, full roll, push 3/4 loop up, 2-point on top, push vertical down, 3/4 to the Y, exit on the Y, and then a pull Humpty, 1/4 down, exit left, figure 4, half loop up, 3 of 2 on top into a 45 push hammer.
Is there any way to put this on the live stream?
Yeah, can you send an image to a YouTube live stream?
Yeah.
chat.
Can I send the image to the chat?
Like in the chat, can you post
I don't
that
know
image?
that they'll allow that.
Look at that altitude space for the box. Turn it final for the box.
Make sure my volume's down there. We
So
go.
this is this what's called the free unknown?
Yeah, this is called the free unknown. This is free unknown number 1.
And how's that put together?
So the top 10 competitors submit figures, and the jury or they have to approve the figures. You can't repeat figures, you can't repeat rolls, and then they take those 10
Yeah.
and you can add 4 connectors to it in order to
Make it all flow.
Yeah, make it all flow.
Are the connectors are they scored?
The connectors are scored, and you can use whatever figure you want as a connector, but they're only worth 6K.
No matter how difficult.
No matter how difficult.
So
So
you
you
just-
could put a tail slide in with a half snap on the up, and
But mostly they're lines and angles. And,
Yep,
and turns and rolls.
I built mine and I used a lot of hammerheads, because a lot of this, as Morgan Katnick dives into the box here and does the 45 up, a lot of these figures are really just like
Center
one
box.
directional, no turnarounds with.
So you need turnaround figures.
You need turnarounds, and they're not connectors. So a lot of inverted starts, not a lot of inverted exits.
Mm.
Or, I mean, it became a real challenge to try and put this one together, and the competitors managed to put together, I think, 10 or 11, 12 versions that all worked. And Mike Lentz and I got together and looked through everything, and Aaron McCartan was helping out as well, put together what would work best for the extra 300 and what would work for us. And so we chose Form B.
And all this
we'll
is
find that one.
all these things are taking place in the building while other people are flying.
Yeah.
That's
Or in our hotel rooms at 11 o'clock.
11
midnight.
o'clock at night.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that's unique about nationals. Is there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes instead of just the flying.
Yep. And so last night I was concentrating so hard on this free unknown, because this is my first year in advance. This is a lot of this is new to me. I skipped the social last night because I have to work like twice as hard to try and get this stuff squared away and in my head and fly it right. So,
And this is different from a regional contest where you're just presented with the unknown.
yep. Nice flight by Morgan Katnick there. Looked really good. We're happy for him. And
Well, I flew advanced for a couple of years, but I have to say that I never flew nationals, so I never got to participate in this free unknown process. And I think there's been a certain amount of, maybe it's a dirty word, category creep since then.
well,
I'd say the figures, the advance is significantly more difficult than when I flew it 10 years ago.
I don't know. Then 10 years ago, I would say a little bit yes. And I don't know if it's necessarily category creep exclusively, but more and more people are buying monoplanes and aircraft that have more capabilities, and they're trying to extract the most out of the airplane to get an advantage over people who would be flying an Eagle or a Pitts S1.
Because that
in
sequence
advance.
you showed me, that would have been an unlimited sequence.
10 years
back
ago?
10 years ago. I
Oh
think.
yeah, and I'm not sure that there's all that much difference between that and an unlimited sequence. Besides, there's no tail slide.
In my
And no outside
in
snaps.
my humble opinion.
Yeah, so that's really what's missing from my sequence is tail slides and outside snaps.
All right. Well, let's ask the chat group. How many want to see Rob walk through
Nope.
his sequence
Ah.
during the next break? Now you're screwed.
Can we create a poll? We probably can.
No, I'll just see if they respond.
Alex Huey, good to see you. Yeah, the advanced free unknown is 364K. Yeah, it's a big K, and the max K for each figure submitted was 40K, and we're using SIVA rules for the free unknown number 1 and the free unknown number 2. So we're gonna fly another one of
Put it
those.
on your phone again. I'll see if I can shoot it quick.
Okay.
SIVA rules. SIVA rules. I thought this was the IAC.
Well, it is the IAC, but we do have. What's his name? His name Nick.
Nick Buckingham is
Nick
here.
Buckingham is here from SIVA. He's president of SIVA, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick, not Buckingham, not Buckingham. Pretty close.
Oh, can you get low enough?
Oh, nice.
Oh, it's very dark.
71 Glide Pilot Jake, this is a good enough altitude if you could turn it to the right. And
Focus.
Focus.
There we go. So this has my notes on it as well, where I'm going to start in the box. A lot of the point rolls are all boxed in, so I can clearly see that, hey, you got to put points on those. And then decisions about where to roll are already made, like I'm going to roll away or I'm going to have equal rolls. These are going to be the same. I wrote push on there and pull a couple times to remind myself, hey, this is what you have to do right here, because it can be confusing at times. So we're gonna. That's the original sequence that I was working with. Mike and I are gonna remake it again so it fits in the airplane real good, and that way, hey, we go out there, we don't have to rely on our memories. We can just read the card.
Don't rely on memory.
Yeah. Thanks, Forrest.
That worked.
This looks like it's a glider on tow, or they were on tow. Now they're off tow.
Off tow, off tow.
Is it a Fox or is it a DG?
Looks like a DG.
That means we got Jacob Monix.
Looks like two white toothpicks up there.
Jacob from the Air Force Academy. Flying the Sportsman glider sequence. As we get the peaceful serenity of a glider sequence.
Gliders are challenging to judge. I went years between judging gliders, but I wanted to upgrade my glider skills, so I went to the Glider Nationals in Estrella, Arizona this spring. Just all gliders all day long. That's the way to get better at it.
I was out there and I missed it by a week.
Oh.
Yeah, I have family out there.
It's a great little operation they have there. Jason, can't remember his last name, and Chad Colson. It's a big field, gravel, with a small paved strip for the tow planes, and they can just land anywhere.
Yeah.
It's the way to learn immersion.
Yep. I never see gliders in the Northeast. I only ever see them when I'm out here at Nationals.
Any idea why?
Supply and demand.
Yeah. We do our practice sessions for our aerobatic team down at Nephi, Utah, and there's a big glider and skydive operations down there, so we get to work ourselves into the flow, interact with the glider guys. They tow and they also winch.
Oh, winch launch.
Did you ever see a winch launch?
Only in video.
Pretty scary, pretty crazy looking. They got a mile-long rope and a big Buick engine and a reel, and then when they crank that thing up, that glider goes up at a 45-degree angle and just shoots right up into the sky.
Well, when you have a lot of lift right off the ground there.
Yeah, you can do that.
Winch launching before, and it strikes me as a little bit more like flying a kite than flying an airplane, because the angle of attack just seems impossibly high.
Yeah, and they got to release right at the right moment before
it starts pulling them back down.
They start pulling them back down. So it comes up like this, and they get us up to about a 40-degree angle, and then bam, they release and just shoot up. And get up a couple thousand feet that way. Henry says, will he walk through with his arms out like a kid flying, making flying noise? That'd be worth watching.
Thanks, Henry.
Do we have a model airplane?
No.
You can use?
I definitely do not.
Thank you.
Looks like we potentially have a glider next. I believe we're going to have Oleg flying the Fox.
Oleg. Yeah, I remember I He was one of my judging assistants at Estrella. Where are you, Oleg?
Oh, there he is, high and to the left.
Okay, still on tow.
Yep, still on tow. We're about done with this category for primary. We just have one more primary powered to fly.
And start into some power sportsmen?
A couple more gliders.
Mm-hmm.
And then powered sportsmen.
All right, how many in sportsmen?
840.
Okay, better send us lunch.
12.
Better send us some lunch.
Oh, I broke the rubber band. Oh well. Off tow. GBSC flies gliders out of Sterling. That's where Josh Feldman got his start, actually. Yes, I've seen gliders out of Sterling, and I believe Greg Dinning has done some instructing out of there as well. Greg Dinning owns a Super Decathlon and a Kristen Eagle. He's partners in a Kristen Eagle in the Northeast, so he's definitely got some aerobatic experience and chops. But I don't know if there's any aerobatic gliders. Or if any of the gliders
what's GBSC?
can be, it stands for something. So what I was doing was I was having Wes Liu generate some slums, some single line unknown maneuvers. In the weeks before I went out to fly, and I think that's like episode 14 or 15 of the Flight to a Championship YouTube series on Spread Aviation's YouTube channel, and was going out and getting those figures the night before, and then going out the next morning and flying them with him watching on the ground. So a lot of it is trying to get some figures together that you think people are going to submit, and then go and fly those things, go and practice those things. And everything in aerobatics is spin, loop, roll, hammerhead. It's just cut and paste pieces and parts of those different figures. So once you know how to do those things, once you do get an unknown, you go, oh, this is a piece that I know, this is a piece that I know, this is a piece that I know, and now we put it together. And then in terms of once you actually have your unknown from the contest, if it's not your next flight to fly, take a quick look at it, go, okay, and then put it away, and don't think about it. Then go fly your free, concentrate on your free, get done with your free, and then when you're done with the free, pull out the unknown and really start studying it, walk through it, make a little box on the carpet on the floor, and position your aircraft, think about the wind, think about where you want it, and how the altitude requirements are for each maneuver, so you can know where you need to start, where you need to be for each maneuver, especially on altitude critical stuff, that you don't go below the box. And we're going to end up on this unknown today doing a lot of driving down. So we're going to start high, and we're going to use a lot of the box in order to keep the energy on the airplane to do the figures. Quarter clover once again towards the judges.
This is a higher performance glider. Is this a Fox?
This is the Fox, yep. Just seems like there's a lot of wind on Judge right now. Really got to take those Y correctors away, but it could be some people's policy that they just don't do anything away from the judges because they think it presents worse, or the figures look distorted. And while you are going away, there is an illusion that the aircraft is descending, but there's also an illusion while you're going towards the judges that the aircraft is climbing. So some pilots use those illusions to their advantage and will actually descend towards the judges or climb going away
Mm-hmm.
if they need to exchange a little bit of energy.
So this part of his sequence is badly positioned. He's
Yeah,
way,
this is
way off to the
so far to the
way off to the left,
to the south.
and almost behind the judges.
Yeah. So that's going to hurt the presentation score, but all in all, nice flight flown by Oleg.
So, Rob, what about somebody who wants to move up from sportsman to intermediate? They
Do it.
well, maybe they've been flying a sportsman for a couple of years, and they've gone from flying the sportsman known 3 times in a row to designing and flying their own freestyles. So they know a little bit about freestyles, but they've never flown unknowns before. Now they're not going to fly a free unknown like you have here.
No.
They're going to fly an unknown that's given to them, and it's going to be made up of figures that are in a sequence that they haven't flown before. But are they actually going to fly figures that they've never flown before? That doesn't sound wise.
Yeah, moving up to intermediate, you get introduced to snaps. So you really don't see snap rolls in sportsman, but they start to creep into, you start to see them in intermediate very frequently. And
So you'll go out and you'll practice snap rolls, and you'll practice doing Humpty bumps now that include maybe rolls on the up line or rolls on the down line.
yeah, maybe quarter roll up, yeah.
Or hammerheads that have quarter rolls. So you can go out and practice those various figures.
Then we got Haley Joe Brinson coming in from the left. Haley's walking around. She gets to escort Walter, and Walter's a little inside gig with the MSU flight team, and she's responsible for the caretaking of Walter. It's not exactly a punishment, but it is a unique honor to be in charge of Walter.
Who and what is Walter?
Walter's a little squeaky toy.
Oh, okay.
And she gets to carry him around.
Is that
Nice 1.5 turn
Is that
spin
an
there.
award or a punishment?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Did like a 1.5 turn spin. That airplane is making a beautiful noise. Haley is flying the snot out of it. Nice drive over the top into the wind, setting that 45 down line. Half roll, keep pushing. Nice line lengths. Center box now. Little much float there, and then that's a little tight there.
Too
A little
tight
tight.
there.
That's okay. 180 turn. Go left. Yay!
Good choice.
And let's see a good solid slow roll.
That was
Good slow roll.
Very
Solid performance from Haley Joe Brinson. Great job. That's going to wrap the primary powered category and the primary category in total. This is all we have left for gliders or sportsman gliders, and we'll be moving on to sportsman power
Sportsman power.
here in a little bit. But yeah, practicing unknowns, you can also get on the IAC's website, IAC.org, and there are sequences there, so you can pull other people's frees.
An archive of sequences.
There's an archive of sequences. There's even some unknowns on there from previous years. And you can print those out, take them up to altitude, and go fly them.
That's what I did. The last year that I was flying sportsman, every contest I went to, I collected other people's intermediate
Unlimited freeze,
freeze.
and you flew them
Yeah.
for...
intermediate freeze and intermediate unknowns, and collected a file of those, and then I would go out and practice those. So that's what I'd call practicing a category above.
Yep.
So for a year or two before moving up from sportsman to intermediate, I practiced intermediate sequences and figures.
You want to zoom out and we'll give the audience what they want, me walking through this?
This is as zoomed out as I can get.
That's as zoomed out, so I got to go all the way down
You
there?
gotta go somewhere else.
No, I'll go all the way down there.
Then
And
we won't hear the narration.
well, that's fine.
Drop me the sequence, and I'll so I can read
yeah,
it.
you can spot for it.
Yeah, just drop it to me.
Inbound. We don't have the wireless mic.
mean, I own some, but I don't have them out.
Which tent are you on?
I can. You go wherever you want. Wherever
Okay.
you're comfortable. I'll find you.
So Rob's going to walk through this sequence. His unknown, free unknown.
That's good. That's good, Rob.
He's coming into the box, wagging the wings. Then there's a pull to vertical with a 2 out of 4. And then a tip down to an inverted down line, and a slow roll, and a pull out. That completes figure 1. Figure 2 has got a slow roll plus a push around P loop with a 2-point roll at the top, 3/4 roll, and out on the Y. Then a Humpty Bump, pull to vertical, half loop, down line, 1/4 roll, out downwind. Figure 4, half loop up, 3 out of 2 on the top, 1, 2, 3, out into the wind. Figure 5 is a 45 entry hammer, the 1/4 roll, then the hammerhead pivot, and then the down line, and a half roll, and out downwind. Figure 6 has got a double roll with a 1.5 roll opposite, then a push around with a 3 out of 4, alternating with a 1/4. Then this is a lay down 8. So a 5/8 loop down, 45 up line, half roll, 5/8 loop, and out into the wind. Figure 8's a double Humpty. 3/4 roll away, half loop around on the y-axis, 2 out of 4 on the down line, pull out, pull around on the bottom, 1/4 roll, and then a cap off upright downwind. I think he made a mistake. Then 45 down line with a half snap, pull around to vertical, half roll, and then lay out inverted. Figure 10 is a 5/8 loop starting on the inverted. Another mistake. What's the matter? Oh, he feels like he zeroed that figure. Turned the wrong way?
No, I went from figure 8 to figure 11.
He skipped. He went from figure 8
Instruction on the card issue. So
figure 8 to figure 11. Accidentally skipped a line of figures.
Whole line of figures, so that's no good.
That would be that
would be a major
that would be a major foobar.
Major no-no. Wagging away from the judges. Well, I wagged left there, and so when we fly advanced, the judges will be on the west side. So if I'm coming in from the south, then a left wag will actually be towards the judges at that point. So that worked out. But yeah, no, I made a mistake here, and it's easy to do with the way I have this sequence set up. But
yeah, oftentimes the unknown is
it's a separator.
Yeah, well, it's a separator. It's a contest of zeros.
Yeah.
Who can? If you can just fly it with no zeros.
No, Miko, I had the 45 entry to the hammer. I had that. Yeah, I went figure 8. Figure 8, I screwed something up. I ended up on the x-axis when I shouldn't have been. And then figure 9, I did the push down, half snap, and then I looked down at figure 11 because it has a 45 line on it too. And I was like, oh, I need to pull around. This is weird. So yeah, I messed that up. I read that wrong. That's the hard part. You got to read the card. Got to read the card and got to be able to fly it.
Got to be able to fly while you're reading the card. It's hard. I always read the card. You know, I know people that memorize all their sequences, even unknowns. I could never do it.
No,
I always had to read the card.
not me. All right, I'm going to take a little break.
Okay, I'm gonna let's get a snack.
And then we'll be
time.
back in a little bit. Welcome back. We've got Dick Swanson flying the 8KCAB Decathlon. This is actually a very special decathlon, actually. Got to learn about the history of it yesterday. It is 180 horsepower, constant speed propeller. It's been upgraded significantly. By the factory. So, I believe it's still a certified aircraft. As Dick flies the wedge here, half roll to upright. Going into a half square loop. This is a tactic that a lot of people use for designing of a free. You don't ever put a whole figure in. You put elements of a figure. So it's really easy to score 10s on just these elements. Or high scores on a lot of elements. As he finishes the half square loop down into a pull-pull Humpty. Hard pull to close, looked pretty good. Starting to see that wind pick up even more. Dick sets up for the hammerhead just about center box, and the wind is blowing him from right to left. Don't know if you can see that against the background of clouds in the live stream, but that airplane moved about 100 feet from the judge's right to the judge's left. And getting into this reverse wedge, he's got a downwind. Probably going to blow him right out of the box, or at least right to the edge. Pulls the vertical down. He's going to get a real good look at the edge of the box right now. He'll figure out where he is. Let's see what he does with figure 9, which is an Immelman half loop up. Let's see if he takes the cross country back to the north side of the box. Yeah, that is an experienced competitor right there. Recognizing where he is in the box, got that situational awareness. Takes that just to the right of the judges. Puts that maneuver right in front of us. Looks good. 270 turn. See how big he makes it. He's going right. Make it big. Don't make it small. It's going to be a little bit tough to... Well, no, he's got a 360 as the follow-on. So he's got a 270 followed by a 360. He's right up on the judge's line now. Probably an out east on figure 11 here, his last figure. Comes back around to wrap up this 360 competition turn. Yeah, so next up we got a Sportsman glider, Michael Laub. Just checked in on box frequency. He's on toe high and to the left. Hasn't turned base just yet.
And he's off toe now.
Very good. Michael will be our last Sportsman glider competitor for the day. And Michael's flying the DG-1000 from the United States Air Force Academy. Good luck, Michael. Have a great flight.
There's the wing wag. So this starts with the 45 upline, which for this glider category is actually only 30 degrees. Gives him the altitude he needs and slows down for the spin.
That thing just parked. Look at that. It's not moving. Now it's going backwards.
Nice stop, nice line. And this is the reverse cubing. 45 line first with the roll.
Gotta get into it quickly with this wind.
He's being carried way out of the box to the south now.
Yep, he's going to get a good look at it, looking down at the edge of the box. He's going to see where he is. Let's see if he makes an adjustment or a correction and drives this next figure.
Drive it, drive it, drive it.
And it's a slow roll, so he can put that wherever he wants. And in gliders, you can maintain a descending line throughout. You just have to maintain a consistent descending line. So he doesn't have to worry about his airspeed. Quarter clover. He's taking it away from the judges. This seems like an experienced move right here. Everybody else did it the other way, and he's doing it going into the wind. So now he's not over our heads, and it's real easy to watch him. That's going to help his presentation score, I think. That's a nice-looking quarter clover as well. That may set him apart from the rest of the pack.
He is moving backwards, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Hammerhead. We were talking about this yesterday. I don't see how they hammerhead an airplane with no engine to provide slipstream over the tail.
You got to kick early. Kick early and hold it for a long time.
Kick early and get some rotational momentum going.
Mm-hmm.
And finally the loop. Needs to be wind corrected, so he's got to hurry it up across the top.
And now relax it.
And now relax it. And then finishing high. A lot of them finish high.
Yep. They just kept that pull on. That wind really affects that last quarter of a radius. And if you don't relax the G and let it drive into that wind on that downline as you're finishing the radius, you'll pinch that bottom. Bye, Mike.
That's our last glider, eh?
That's the last glider. Glider's done for the category.
John, the box is yours on the good place. What altitude are you now? 4,000 feet at the moment. Okay, so you're cleared into the box. To the box, let's go. Thank you.
Dylan Beal flying the Super Decathlon, getting ready. He's now cleared.
Is this a no?
This is a free. Yeah,
free?
he's got his own.
Free. Let's have a look.
I'll pass that over to you, Jeff.
Of course, there is a limited amount of variation they can use in a freestyle. They're still using basically a lot of the same figures you find in the known, maybe in a different sequence, or they can throw in some extra things. But
I think actually the only limiting factor is total K and number of maneuvers.
so they could potentially throw in a snap roll,
Tail slide.
tail slide,
Yep. End figure.
and figure.
Yep.
You'd use up all your K pretty quickly, though, wouldn't you?
Sure. Yeah, go big or go home.
So what's the disadvantage of putting a higher K figure in?
Well, if you get a low score on a high K figure,
You get a low score.
you get a low score. But if you're not here to win championships or anything like that, you just want to go out and have some fun, maybe practice your tail slides if you have
You mean
an extra.
You mean winning a trophy isn't the most important thing?
It's not. This is all about fun. And even on the hard days, this is still so much fun.
And it's still, he's starting out with the same two figures as in the known.
Yeah.
Comfortable, familiar start.
Mm-hmm. Nice 1.5 turn spin, little over and back, and then he went back again.
Now he's going to put in a reverse wedge.
45 up, half roll.
This is a lot like the reverse Cuban, only you draw straighter lines.
Yep, you don't have to make the same radiuses.
Straight lines are easier to do and less prone to judging errors than looping lines.
Yeah. Now on the cross country, back to the center box, fighting that wind. Good placement for the pole Humpty.
Vertical line, half loop, vertical line. He's doing the hammerhead up against the wind. The British call this the stall turn, right?
Yeah, but
I think that's a misnomer.
yeah, we're not actually stalled during this maneuver. The wing isn't loaded. The angle of attack isn't beyond critical.
Now a wedge, like the half Cuban, only straight lines. A hesitation half Cuban.
Maybe a dash long after.
Loop into the wind.
It's like this would be an easy pull, building the G here and then relaxing it, and letting it float over the top, and you see that
But drifting
the
down
ground
wind.
speed just went. And now here, relax.
He came right back where he started.
Yeah, that was actually a really nice loop, and then maybe a little rushed into this.
Now that was a 45-degree entry into a hammer. Yeah, I don't think that was a good 45 line. He didn't really show the line.
But it existed. Long enough to score. 180 turn into the wind, away from the judges. Can kind of see the difference in experience level between the sportsman pilot and the primary pilots going to the same, the same school. A little bit of a descent there. So in primary, we didn't see a lot of wind correction to and away from the judges on the y-axis. Here, he did a really nice wind corrector, taking that back into the wind, and did a really nice job. Good job, Dylan, on that flight, on that free.
We're getting a few comments on the chat, but we'd like to have more.
Feel free to ask
Let's have some questions. Ask us anything. What's
your
the atomic weight of beryllium?
What's your ATM pin?
What's my what?
Your ATM pin.
My ATM. Oh, my ATM pin. Yeah. How about my so my Social Security number?
Yeah, Social Security. Mother's maiden name.
My grandmother's maiden name.
Grandmother's.
Ask us anything about aerobatics. You can ask us anything about aerobatics or orthopedics.
And I know a little about show tunes, so.
Show tunes? Uh-oh.
Only a little. See, make sure...
Clang, clang, clang with the trolley.
See, that one I only know from The Simpsons. From Martin.
From Martin?
Yeah, Martin did a thing. I don't even remember, but he immediately got punched in the stomach by Nelson. I remember that.
Oklahoma, where the man comes.
I know that one. That was a good one. Yeah, but like we're in Kansas, I can't sing that. Is there a rivalry between Kansas and Oklahoma?
I suppose.
I know Oklahoma and Texas.
Okay, champion I can't read
428.
this.
Yeah, we got a glare.
I got so much glare. I can't read this. What does it say, Rob?
It says, who is doing the commentary currently? Well, I'm Rob Dumovic from Spread Aviation, and I'm accompanied by Dr. Jeff Granger. And I keep forgetting the name of your company, I'm sorry.
Our little flight school in Provo, Utah is called Pilot Makers Advanced Flight Academy.
Pilot Makers Advanced Flight Academy.
And Pilot Makers Advanced Flight Academy
Long name, amazing results.
Yeah, was founded by Barry Hancock. Barry flew the T6 Texan, which apparently during World War II, being the advanced trainer, was nicknamed the Pilot Maker.
Oh yeah.
If you could fly the T6, you were a pilot. And so he started the flight school, and we do private, commercial, and instrument instruction. We also do tailwheel and aerobatics and upset recovery. and that's our emphasis. That's our niche in the Wasatch Front of Utah.
So if you're anywhere in the Provo area and you need some aerobatic training, look up Jeff Granger and the Pilot Makers
Advanced Flight Academy.
Advanced Flight Academy, the PMAFA.
The PMAFA. That's
Got
right.
it.
We have 3 Piper Archers, 1 Cessna 172, a Redbird AATD, a American Champion Super Decathlon, which I just purchased this year with my partner Richard, and our extra $300.
All right, now we're going to go.
Hey there, guys.
Hey, we're going to Mikey Goulian live out on the box as Michael Hare is flying his sequence here. Michael, how are they doing out on the boundary, and have you had to call any out so far?
No, on my side, I haven't actually had to call any outs.
You're up on the
Rob
northwest?
Getting a little exercise. I'm on the north side, so the wind's keeping him in a little bit.
Gotcha.
Rob's had a little bit of exercise down there on the south, and even a couple of people out to the east, actually.
Yeah, we've seen that over our heads.
Yeah, but now that we get into the sportsman category, we're definitely seeing an increase in pilot skill and awareness of what that wind is doing to them. How would you, in say an air show performance, compensate for the wind?
Well, I think what you're really trying to do is make sure your airplane is in the right position in the box, right? So, as we've all talked about, positioning is a little difficult. I'm actually watching Michael go right up the boundary here. He slid in just nicely. So you're really trying to find your position laterally in the box, or what we call on the y-axis, so that you're right in the position, the right position for the judges to see. For me, that's the biggest thing. And, you're turning your loops a little bit. You're a little bit of sort of playing the angles a couple of degrees here and there just to try to keep the airplane in space. But quite frankly, there's not that much wind today, right? So I'm surprised that people are going out to the south a little bit. I think it's just they're a little surprised by maybe there's a little bit more wind than they might have thought. But like Michael's flying right now and doing a pretty nice job with it. He's right in the middle. You can also tell he's pretty aggressive. And what's really nice to see, there's just a whole bunch of decathlons out there, which is just awesome, right?
Yes. And Michael is flying an extreme decathlon, and I can definitely hear a difference in engine tone between the supers and the extreme with that 210 horsepower.
Yeah, not everybody that's flying has to be an unlimited pilot to enjoy the sport and fly a crazy machine, right? And these new decathlons are just beautiful. And if you've got a really new one, you have all this crazy Garmin avionics, which has all kinds of weather and everything, which allows cross-country travel to be really no sweat whatsoever. So it's easier to get to contests. And I think that's the thing that we need to let everybody know, is that it's just so fun and everybody's out here. Now I was walking around the hangar this morning, and the sun's coming up, and there's 50 aerobatic airplanes in the hangar, and I felt like a kid in a candy store. It's really cool to me.
Bringing back memories of when you were competing, right?
Yeah, I'm just an aerobatic pilot. Always have been, always will be, and I just love it. And even though they've got me sitting out here in the darn boundary in the corner, I still love it.
Excellent. Well, Michael, thank you very much for volunteering and giving back to the IAC. You've always been a big supporter and you're a lifetime member and member of many U.S. Teams that competed at the world level. And so thank you for participating.
Yeah, happy to be here, guys.
All right. Well, we're going to go and give Rob Holland a call here in a little bit. Thank you very much, and let us know if you need anything.
Talk slowly to Rob. He's from New Hampshire.
All right, we'll do.
Bye.
Bye. Mike and Rob go way back. Rob Holland actually taught for Executive Flyers, which is where I got hired by Michael to teach as well. So there's a great pedigree and a long lineage of fantastic flyers who have come out of New England. And Rob and Michael get along very, very well. And having known each other for that long, they definitely
they can kid each other.
Oh yeah, but it's quite interesting to be a part of this community and all these folks out there.
Are you going to give Rob a call out there on the boundary?
Yeah, I'm going to give him a heads up first.
I have to say again, it's amazing that two of the top airshow pilots in the country are out on our boundary line.
Oh, yes.
It's generally considered kind of a tedious, menial job to go put out on the boundary.
But like we talked about earlier,
but
it's a great place to be.
It's got to be done.
Yeah.
It's got to be done.
It's a great place to watch some awesome aerobatics. Now, for the free unknown that Advance is going to be flying, the number 2, I hear we are not going to do boundary judges for that one because SEVA does not do boundary judges.
SEVA. So we're the IAC. What the heck is SEVA?
I don't know.
SEVA? SEVA is the Committee Internationale pour Voltige Aérienne.
I should have asked you what a SEVA. Should have gone that route. It was a lot funnier the way we did it, though. Don't they make cheese?
No, they are French.
Somebody was walking. I think it was Chris Rudd was walking around last night going, "Anybody want some Velveeta?" I'm just like, no.
No. The IAC, although we're called the International Aerobatic Club, is predominantly a U.S. organization, a U.S. and Canadian organization. I think there's chapters in Sweden and Norway and Denmark, and I think there might be one in South America.
And if you're from any of these places and you're in the chat, please feel free to say hi. And if you're not from those places, hit us up in the chat. Tell us where you're watching from, as we're happy to have you here joining us today. We're going to try and get Rob Holland on the line here. And let's see what happens if we just go with a FaceTime audio call.
Calling Rob.
He's not going to take
He's not going to answer.
I'm not going to take the call. Oh, there he is.
Hey!
Hey, Rob.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, you don't have to run video if you don't want to. You're not doing that part. But hey, how's the boundary?
Well, it's good. It's a great place to watch all the flights, and it looks like they've been going pretty well so far.
Excellent. And are you getting a lot of action over there?
Yeah, and I actually got to get back to work right now.
All right. Well, yeah, just give us what you got to do.
All right, man. Talk to you guys soon.
See you.
All right. Get some action.
He's got a competitor diving into the box,
Okay, here we go.
so he's got to pay attention.
And who do we have here?
We have Andrew Coughlin from University of North Dakota flying the Super Decathlon.
And this is a freestyle.
Absolutely, yeah. So he
Like it.
designed this one himself, probably with the help of Coach Mike Lentz.
Yeah.
Mike is going to take care of the kids, let them know what works, what doesn't work, and give them the freedom to make this stuff. But by the time you're to the Nationals, you want stuff that works.
So he started off with a vertical line, and then the spin, and now it's followed with the wedge. Same pitch changes and rolls as the half Cuban, but drawing straight lines. And then the Humpty Bump, again, same pitch changes as the loop, but with flat sides. It looks like he likes the verticals because he's followed figures 5 and 6 with a vertical line up, cap off inverted, and then a vertical line down.
This is a very similar free to Dick Swanson's, who flew Sportsman First.
This is kind of like a square loop, but divided into two separate figures. Yep, that's right. I remember Dick was crossing the box like this before dropping down.
I was concerned that whistling I was hearing was the Decathlon, but no, there's a jet up high.
Oh, okay. So he's wagging. Does that mean he's done?
No, I think he's taking a break. I don't think he likes his positioning in the box, and so rather than take the out, which is a 5-point penalty, he's taking a break, which I think is a 20-point penalty.
But safer that way.
Safer that way. Yeah.
I see competitors sometimes get in a hurry. They make a mistake, and then they start rushing through the rest of it.
I've done that. I put myself to sleep doing it.
Yeah. Then they make a mistake, and you don't have a video feed in the cockpit. You can't see what the expression on their faces, but there's something about the way the airplane is flying that you can tell that they're flustered, and they start rushing through figures and flying worse and worse, and you wish you could just radio up there and tell them, take a break.
Yeah.
Take a break. pull the extinguisher and put out that helmet fire.
And while it may be more penalty points to take a break rather than take the out, if you're behind the airplane, just take the break.
Mentally behind the airplane.
Yep. And so, I'm never going to fault somebody for taking a break.
Yeah. This allows time to recompose yourself. Maybe
Recage the gyros.
Yeah, study the sequence card, get some altitude, get your heart rate down a little bit.
And hopefully he's going to figure out that, hey, I actually wasn't doing that bad. I was in a good spot. And he just goes, okay, comes on back here and shows us a fantastic hammerhead.
All right, coming in for the hammerhead on the upwind side of the box. Vertical line. Wait for about 40 knots, 40 miles an hour on the airspeed indicator. Full left rudder, right forward stick. Set the down line. Pull out. That could save your life if you flew into a box canyon, right?
You've made some poor life decisions up to that point if you flew into a box canyon. But
No,
I
you probably
suppose...
don't have box canyons in Massachusetts, though.
No, we don't have any terrain until you get about 40 miles west of the coast. And even then, the mountains are only about 1,200, 1,300 feet. That's still pretty tall if you were down low. But generally, everybody out there is flying around 3,500, 3,000 feet.
When we start our practice sessions, we fly through a canyon where the adjacent peaks are 11,000.
There must be some awesome fun flying out there. I've been through the Rockies a couple of times, and definitely had some walls up higher than where I was.
It's really strange to practice an aerobatic sequence and see terrain above you.
Yeah, I can believe that. That makes it really tough to see the true horizon as well.
It does.
Really nice slow roll there at the end for Andrew Coughlin. Nice job, buddy.
So who's next?
Next we have Jared Bixman.
Over to Dower. Thank you.
Jared's out of Kansas flying an extra 330 LC. In Sportsman.
Is that allowed?
Oh, absolutely. Run what you brung and hope you brung enough. Jared and I are DPEs. We went through DPE school together out in Oak City. That's where we met.
Okay.
And we've stayed in contact ever since.
And he's flying the known.
And he's flying the known. Yeah, we don't have a free for him. And he's going to a contest in a couple weeks as well. He's going to try and move up to intermediate. Okay, yeah, Decathlon's editing. He's in the box still, which is good. That's safe. That's the safest place for him to be.
Are you at altitude? Yeah.
Okay, I hear the extra.
Nope, he's over there. I don't know what we're hearing overhead.
Next is right behind the Decathlon. Down.
Okay, I see the extra.
Yep.
I see the flash of his wings.
Oh, we're hearing a Pitts S2A out there in the north hold. So we're running two holds. We have a north hold.
Okay, that must be Phil Gregg because he flies the S2A.
Yeah, that is Phil. Right now, we're just watching Jared do his 2-point safety check. Rolling back upright, making sure his belts are tight. Fuel is functioning on the proper tank, and his inverted oil system is lubricating the motor.
Okay, so this is the Sportsman known. Starts out with the Humpty Bump.
Humpty Bump.
Humpty Bump. This is going to draw some long lines unless he pulls the power back.
Send it. Draw those long lines.
1001, 1002, 1003. Now pull.
So his airspeed indicator apparently works to really, 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 really slow. A little bit of a closed low there.
2003, and pull.
So you're a counter, huh?
Yeah, I'm a counter.
I don't count. That's okay. There's more than one way to skin a cat, as they say. But you can see the extra power, 300 horsepower, 315 horsepower, the extra 330 LC.
Yeah.
can draw some really long lines.
And he has to learn how to throttle that back, especially in sportsman sequences, or he could fly way out of the box.
Yeah, well, we'll see how he does on the downwind. Right here, the power's been able to get him all the way over to the upwind side. Not a lot of people have flirted with that side, except Mike Hare with his Extreme Decathlon.
Okay, so this will be a wedge, but it includes a 2 out of 4 on the down line.
Looks like a good vertical.
Yeah. So he's got to show us a knife edge halfway through the roll.
1,
There. 2.
2. Little short after.
This is the Immelman. Half loop up, roll off the top. Bang. Get a fighter off your tail that way. You get.
Is that how that works?
That's how you get the Fokker off your tail.
Yeah, but that Fokker was in a Messerschmitt.
That's right.
The 180 competition turn followed by a push down to the 45 for a 5/8 loop up, half roll on top, figure 7. Set roll.
Okay. Now a split S begins again with a 2 out of 4. 1,
Under.
2. Yeah, he did under rotate that, didn't he?
And then he pulled really hard right off the bat, made a really tiny radius, impossible to maintain as you accelerate on the down line.
Loop, nothing easier than looping an extra.
And also nothing easier to screw up than a loop in an extra. You have all that extra horsepower,
Easy
you have a bigger
Yep.
delta on the speed change.
Easy to pull too hard right there.
And a lot of G's, so there, look, he's going to finish high. Just a bit high.
Just a titch.
Yeah.
Hammerhead.
Up, 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 up.
Yep, he's up in the stratosphere now.
Yep, but he's maintaining the line. It looks really good.
Yeah, he could
Slow
have.
down, pivots.
He could have throttled back on that line.
The throttle has 2 positions, spin and wide open.
For a 330?
Yep.
In sportsman?
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. Well. So.
Good roll.
So I used to have an extra 200.
As did I.
Oh, you did.
Mm-hmm.
And I flew it in sportsman, which was a lot of fun.
Yep.
And then I started flying it in intermediate, which is a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
And I tried to fly it in advanced.
Less fun.
Yeah. It started to run out of power there. But I was being coached by an old Hoosier by the name of Wayne Norris.
Mm-hmm.
And I was throttling back on these down lines. And I got on the ground and said, "What are you doing, boy? Throttling back." I said, "Well, I wanted to draw a little longer line." That's when he taught me about the lever A and lever B theory.
Yeah.
You know that one?
Yeah, tell me about it.
He said, "This here throttle lever, we call this lever A." He said, "I want you to push it all the way, balls to the wall, and then I want you to lever B."
Yep. That's it. Put it forward, leave it there.
He said, "I don't want you pulling back that throttle except to spin and to land."
Yep.
He said,
I use the spin setting for landing too. So.
"Oh, okay." I said, "Well, I thought, overspeed, this and that."
Nope.
He said, "You're flying an extra." He said, "Fly that thing right up to the red line speed. You're not going to hurt it."
Well, you know who's not flying an extra, and that's Philip Gregg in a Pitt Special S2A.
And this is the first model of the factory-built 2-seat extras, the A.
And he's either up in the stratosphere or he's tiny.
Well,
He could be flying through as well.
He doesn't have as big an engine as the B or the C.
Yeah.
So he's got to get some altitude.
So that was either a fly-through or it was he's still climbing in the box. Which, if you dive into the box and you aren't in the right spot, you don't think it's going to work out, don't have something right, you can just fly right on through.
You didn't lose your chance?
Gently
You
climb.
have to
Nope.
fly back?
Nope, no penalty.
Come back and land?
No penalty, no nothing. You just go back around, wing wag signal that you're starting again, come right back on in that box. But as soon as you start to fly a figure, you're being critiqued. You're being graded, you're being judged, evaluated, and penalty points can be incurred. But there are no penalty points just because you wing wag in and don't start. Tactic I've used many times.
Say again?
Tactic I've used many times.
Tactics.
Yep.
Strategy and tactics.
Strategery.
Strategery. So these guys up here, they're all judgmental, huh?
Nationally qualified, yeah.
Nationally qualified judges.
I'm only regionally qualified.
You're only a regional judge.
Only
You should be a national judge.
That's true, I should.
I've been thinking maybe I should be a SEBA judge.
Oh.
I could join the Comité International de Voltige Avion.
I think part of being a SEBA judge is knowing that it's Committee International de Voltige Avion.
It's the first part of the test.
Yeah, it's page 1. Write your name.
Okay, here comes Philip.
All right, good luck, Philip. Does he have a free?
Yes, he does. It starts out with a pull Humpty.
Pull Humpty push. He's got 3 elements on that upwind. That's fine.
He's still looking at the box, though.
Still looking at the box.
Still
That's okay.
Cogitating. Box reconnaissance.
Maybe he has too much gas.
We haven't had any questions for a while.
We got a Lisa. Is Jeff Granger doing the commentary? Yes, I'm loving this live and learning so much, dreaming of flying in that box one day. This contest is for you. Come on out. There's no pre-qualifiers. The U.S. National Aerobatic Championships, anybody can fly in.
Yeah, and ask us some questions. We're the answer men.
We will give you semi-accurate information.
No question too small or obscure.
What was the old Car Talk sign-off? Oh no, it's not Car Talk. It was
Click and Clack, the Tappet Brothers.
The Tappet Brothers, but not them. The quiz show after them. Wait, don't tell me.
Wait, don't tell me.
Questions have been painstakingly researched, although answers have not.
Okay.
And there's a wing wag.
We like discussing aeronautical trivia.
Yeah. Phil's diving into the box.
Here he comes. Pull Humpty. Pull to vertical. 1, 2, 3. Half loop across the top. Little pinch, little finished high. Hold the line. 1, 2, 3. Pull. Figure 2 is a vertical line up. I call this a dog leg up or a jiggy jog. Pull to vertical.
A jiggy jog?
Yeah.
All right. These are technical terms, folks. Write them down. There'll be a quiz.
Okay, that gives him the altitude and loses the airspeed to get ready for the spin. Nice stop, Philip. Okay, wedge or shark tooth, depending on your preference. Hold the vertical, hold the line. 1, 2, 3. 45 down line. 1001, 1002, 1003, roll. 1001, 1002, pull.
Little short out.
Okay, and this is going to be half square loop up and half square loop down. Pull the throttle back.
No, lever B.
Lever B. Okay, so this is a Humpty, but it's a pull push Humpty. 1001, 1002,
I remember my first pull push
1003.
Humpty. I thought this push was going to hurt so bad.
No, it's
and I
nothing.
was so braced for it, and when I did it, and it was absolutely nothing, I was
It's just a float.
Yeah, it's just a float.
But depending on your prop, it might need a lot of rudder.
Oh yeah.
The first time I tried that in my Skybolt with a 2-blade metal prop, I turned off to the left 90 degrees.
Yep, gyroscopic precession will do that.
Okay, you got a slow roll coming up. And then figure 10 is a half loop up, fly off inverted.
I looked down, looked up, missed the slow roll.
That's fast.
And that's why, as a judge, you got to keep your eyes on the sky and let your assistant read the sequence card to you. Don't look away.
Nice.
Little descent.
Yeah, he did sag a little bit. He's done.
No, he's got a 90.
Oh, sorry, 90 degree turn.
Yep.
What was I say?
Now
Now he's done. There's the wag. Saying
Nice
goodbye.
flight, Phil.
Waving goodbye. Click and Clack, the Tappet Brothers.
Tom and Ray Magliazzi.
Yeah, they were from Boston, weren't they?
Yes, they were. Cambridge, our first city.
Yeah, that's where you parked the car in Harvard Yard?
Parked account, have it yet. I've been there. So one of the first places I went when I moved to Boston was I had to go.
And park your car in Harvard Yard?
Yeah, and say I've been to Harvard. And I remember they had Car Talk had a webcam on their website that looked into the square.
Yeah.
And I had to go find the window that webcam was in. I just had to, like, it was a
Wave jumper?
yeah. And then I think a year after I got there is when Tommy died. Tommy passed
Yeah.
away. But the show still airs
In reruns?
in
huh?
reruns on NPR.
It's hilarious.
And they still say the number, and I wonder how many people ever call in and what happens if you call that number, even though the show's not live anymore. And then Ray is still doing commercials in Boston. He may even be doing commercials internationally or nationally for auto parts chains. But yeah, I hear him on the radio every once in a while in Boston, and I hear him on NPR and sometimes on like Pandora commercials.
That's cool.
Very interesting. How are we talking about NPR? How did that?
Oh, there's a radio show. We're doing. This is basically a radio show.
Yep.
Did you ever do any radio before this?
No, I've got 46 episodes of a podcast though that are out there. Spread Aviation, available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play, as well as our website, spreadaviation.com. You can listen to all the episodes there, and our YouTube channel, Spread Aviation, Instagram, Spread Aviation, Facebook, Spread Aviation. Just think apple butter. Spread Aviation.
Spread it.
That's a joke from like episode 4.
Okay.
We got Ryan Tierney doing a really nice job here flying the Super D out of MSU.
I've got a wedge coming with a 2 out of 4.
1,
2.
Tons of smash. Nice line.
We got something we haven't seen in the sportsman sequences before. It's a hammerhead with a quarter roll on the down line.
Ooh, a Y exit. I think he'll go right or left.
He should go to the west.
That'll be a right. And he did.
I can't think of right and left when I'm going straight down now.
It's just where you got to put the stick.
It's just where I got to put the stick.
Yeah.
I go that way.
I can't think west, south, east, north.
I just think upwind, downwind, toward the judges, away from the judges.
That's pretty good. There's always going to be wind. There's always going to be judges.
I was going to do a 45 down line and a roll.
Well, short after.
Okay, 45 inch reach of a hammer. Hold the line. Let me see it.
Go, go, go,
Okay,
go, go, go.
okay, I see it. All right, now
Too
go
long.
vertical. That line length's not judged.
No, just has to
It
exist.
just has to exist. All right.
He's not rushing anything.
No.
He's actually flying this very smoothly.
Yeah, it should be. It should be leisurely.
Yeah. Little change in roll rate there, right at the very end. Oh, don't go that way.
Don't go that way.
That's all right. It'll work out for him. I think he's got room.
Okay. Then a Humpty Bump. Yeah, it should look graceful and unhurried.
Yeah.
It's a demonstration. It's like, hey, I'm going to show you some maneuvers.
I'm going to show you how much I love flying this airplane.
A little pitch, and that doesn't look quite vertical.
No, little, just shy of it.
270 turn. Steady bank ankle, steady turn rate. Stop.
Roll it.
Roll it out.
Wag.
Wag. Good job. Ryan.
Nice job, Ryan.
Ryan from MSU.
Ryan from MSU.
It's not Michigan State.
That is not.
That's that Mountain State. It's
Metro.
Metro State.
No, yes,
State.
Metro.
And their coach is Dagmar Kress.
Dagmar Chris.
So,
See, being from Ohio, I can't say the M word.
oh,
It's that state up north.
that state up north.
Yeah.
You know that I did my residency there.
Yeah, and I've never forgiven you for it.
Hail to the concrete heroes, hail to the...
There are words to that
valiant-
song?
Yes. You didn't know the words?
No, of course not.
Are we taking a break?
Looks like we're taking a little bit of a break here.
Okay, come on, let's have some questions. Questions and comments, please. Our brains are brimming.
Or random facts of your own.
Yeah, our brains are brimming with aeronautical trivia that we want to share with you. It's only people that went to Ohio State that really hate Michigan.
Hey, a fan is a fan, man.
You went to Kent State?
Oh, the advanced briefing is at 11:30. Hey, Alex. Let's see here. Is the extra mid-wing unlimited capable competitive at nationals? It's certainly competitive, and Endo is flying the mid-wing in unlimited. And he's flying the pants off. It definitely suffers from kind of a lack of energy and a lack of roll rate compared to the MX, especially. If you can keep it tuned up, and if you can keep the energy high on it and trade from high to low, the aircraft is certainly competitive, though you can see a difference in the aircraft performance. And as far as the advanced field, what you expected to see at nationals, do you think some pilots are in position because of Halo or not? No, I think the pilots are scoring where they're scoring because of preparation, coaching, experience, and all of the above. I think they're flying to their level. I'm at the bottom of the ranking because I've had the airplane for 4 months. I haven't competed since 2018, and I'm probably the least experienced person here in advanced level competition. So, I've made my own mistakes, and I've earned the scores that I've earned, and I've got the tools that I've got. So, everything that I'm doing there, working on. I'm using the tool not to the limits of what its capabilities are. I don't think I've found those yet, but I have in the last couple of days learned a lot about the midwing. And the valuable input from Michael Lentz and being able to watch Michael fly it too makes me go, oh, that's what that looks like. That's what that is. And he and I bouncing information and ideas off of each other have helped us tune the aircraft even more than I already did. And when you watch Mike Lentz fly it, his flight yesterday was on rails, and it was his 4th time in the aircraft, period. He hadn't flown that airplane before Saturday. He hadn't flown advanced since Worlds, so, or at least since he flew a highly modified Decathlon in advance. So the airplane is capable. It comes down to the monkey behind the stick, and the pilots who are up where they are in the top of the list and in the top 10, they're flying lights out. Marco Bau, he's flying the heck out of that laser. He was awesome, and we knew that going into this, that he was going to be awesome. Laser, 6-cylinder killer. Airplane's flying great. Britt Lincoln's out there, and she's had great support from Craig Gifford. Craig's coaching, critiquing, and helping and guiding and giving feedback. And you can see all of the work that's gone into it come out of the pilots flying. Matt Dunphy, a guy who's had some experience in Unlimited, coming down and flying the pants off his SC, using its capabilities. He's also a former mid-wing guy. He used to own the 300 that Endo's flying. Who else is up there that I'm forgetting? Dave Taylor flying the heck out of his Giles. Luke Penner, always a strong performer. Luke's a very capable guy and very knowledgeable, very experienced. He's had that L for a little over a year, maybe 2 years. And he's looking at putting together a Canadian team because he can't participate in the U.S. team. And the folks that are up there are doing what they're doing. And we're going to see maybe some big shakeups with the unknowns. We usually do. But that's where the field is really going to settle out. You know, everybody's been flying the known. Everybody's been flying their free. Now we get to separate the wheat from the chaff. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the flight. I fly like 19th. I'm really late today. So I have some time after this to go over and review. But it's been awesome to meet some of these people who have we've only really interacted through Facebook, through the Aerobatic Pilots group, where we've listened to each other's stories on the FCS podcast. And it's really cool to get to meet these people at the contest and get to support one another. So been really fun. I'm going to take a little break here. I have to get to a briefing, and I got to figure out how to get back across the field, and that's going to take a little while. So maybe Jeff will continue, maybe these guys will go. We'll see what happens here, but that's going to do it for Jeff and I on the live stream. Thank you very much for your questions. The live stream is going to continue. Don't tune out. We still have 5 sportsman competitors left to go, and that'll be Sean Higgins, Andrea McGilvery, Sarah Arnold, Adamveer Multani, and Palmer Timmons will be flying. So that's going to do it for us here on the commentary. Thank you, Lise Geely. Been very great having you all here. And I'll see you next time.
Here's your ride.
Good, Sean Higgins, ready to come on.
Are they all right there? Yes. Okay. All right.
Get your stuff.
We're good. Thanks. You just.
Thank you so much, guys. That was great.
No problem. You just continue with. Do you just continue shooting the airplane? And
Yep. And I'll start
people can watch?
putting people's names in the chat and sending sunglasses.
Okay, but no commentary. Just.
Well,
Thanks.
no substantive.
No substantive commentary. We can get somebody to fill in later.
Have a good afternoon. right, that was Sean Higgins. And up next is Andrea McGilvery.
Yeah, Chief Judge, and are you still in the home? Here you are. Cleared you to the box. Have a good flight, Andrea.
Andrea. So you guys can hear the radio. Yeah, clearly that was not a decathlon.
He says, this is Arnold.
Sir, you are cleared into the box. Are you in the hold at this time?
You're cutting out.
Are you in the hold at this time?
I'm in the north hold.
Okay, cleared into the box. Have a good flight, Sarah.
Oh, copy, sir. Put it in the box. Thank you.
And Sarah Arnold is up, this time in a decathlon. Andrea was flying an S1C and flying it very well, I thought.
There you go. Keep your turn to south, tower 119 or
Copy.
think I heard Lori say yesterday, Atamveer is the first Indian citizen to fly at the Nationals. Or maybe to fly in IAC at all. I'm not sure about that, but there was something about that yesterday. I don't remember exactly what it was. So 2 pilots left in the category is all. And we'll be switching over to advanced 24 pilots in the advanced team selection year. That starts at 1 p.m. local time here in Salina, Kansas. Or it's supposed to start at 1. And assuming we can get the judges moved and everything set up, it should. I mean, it's looking pretty good. 11:30, 2 pilots to go. We should be able to be ready to roll right at 1 o'clock.
veer turn south and go to the downwind. 19.3.
Palmer Timmons is all that's left of the sportsman power category.
Judge Palmer Timmons is out frequency.
There he is.
All right, Palmer, you are cleared into the box. Have a good flight. And into the box. exiting the box and flying south for that one.
All right, that's going to do it for now. Tune back in 1 p.m. Central Time for the first advanced unknown. It should be interesting. I'm assuming everybody gets moved efficiently and my stuff keeps working. We will see you then. Have a lovely afternoon.